current wife by promising to be faithful and honour her till death parts them. And why wouldn't anyone doubt his sincerity, including all of the countless casual affairs he's promised with the only one, to the two ex-wives who are unaccountably still living? That and more coming up with me, Nick Abbot, after the new news at 10 on LBC.
On your radio, on Global Player, and
Play LBC.
Leading Britain's conversation. This is LBC.
From Global's newsroom at 10 o'clock, a 22-year-old man has been arrested on suspicion of murder after a 9-year-old girl was stabbed to death in Lincolnshire. Leah Valutita was found dead in a Boston street on Thursday. Police released CCTV images of a man they wanted to talk to in connection with the attack. Chief Superintendent Martin Parker gave this update.
We have arrested a 22-year-old man on suspicion of murder. He is now in police custody. Officers detained the man in Boston Central Park area around 2:45 p.m. today.
3 teenagers have been killed and another seriously injured after a car crashed in North Yorkshire. They were driving from Bedale towards High Burton. No other cars, though, are believed to have been involved. Pope Francis says if serious health problems stop him from running the Catholic Church, he would resign. The 85-year-old has admitted his advancing age and difficulty walking means he won't be able to do trips with the same rhythm as before. Rail passengers have seen more disruption today, with train drivers taking part in another 24-hour strike in a row over pay. 5,000 members of the ASLEF union have walked out, affecting lines across England. Spain and Brazil have reported the deaths of 3 people linked to the outbreak of monkeypox, the first in those countries. In the UK, more than 2,300 cases have been confirmed. An NHS vaccination programme is being stepped up in London. And there's been gold for Scottish swimmer Duncan Scott in the men's 200-metre freestyle at the Commonwealth Games. England's Tom Dean had to settle for silver in a reverse result of last year's Olympic final. Ben Proud set a new Games record as well to win the men's 50-metre butterfly.
I got disqualified and I felt like I had the opportunity to retain that title. I felt like it was taken away from me. I said I'd be here 4 years later and it's just happened. My dreams come true. This is my legacy.
LBC weather. Some rain and fog expected across the UK tonight, with a low of 12 degrees. Tomorrow seeing showers, especially in the north, but staying mostly dry. From Global's newsroom for LBC, I'm Serena Farrow.
This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbot.
Hello, boys. Well, let's get back to it.
The Stop Brexit man Steve Bray flouted the tight guest list for Bodger and Carrier's wedding party to conduct a solo protest today after a friend and fellow campaigner was allegedly arrested nearby because the freedom-loving Tory party only love freedom for them, not you. No protesting. Not in this free country. Photographer Silvia Yukio Zamparini was taken away in a police car after turning up to the opulent party at Dalesford House in Gloucestershire. Oh, I can only dream of being invited to an opulent party. In a Facebook post this evening, he wrote, I was supposed to meet Sylvia, but she called me. She was searched by the police. A police van passed me 20 minutes ago. She was crying and waving frantically from the back of her car. She's been arrested, he said. He said in a subsequent tweet, police using dirty tactics. She fought the law and the law won. Rock and roll! Nice that they could spare the time, though. And I'm sure that if you need the police to get someone off your land, they'll turn up straight away. Steve Bray also posted a video in which he spoke to a local police officer who warned him that loud amplifiers set up to disrupt the party would be confiscated. You know, just like they would confiscate speakers if your neighbour was ruining your afternoon. The Stop Brexit man was given a pre-warning in the event that he tried to sabotage the postponed wedding party. Not just a warning. Warning. A pre-warning. What does that mean? They were going to give him a warning that they were going to give him a warning of a warning. The campaigner told the policeman, look what these guys have done to our lives. I don't care if it's a wedding party, he said. Correctamundo, Steve. Meanwhile, Bodger Johnson's close allies and family members have been pictured arriving at the picturesque Cotswolds venue where the thrice-wed MP and his wife are set to celebrate their nuptials.
Disgusting.
A little bit too much information there. We didn't need to know that. And don't let Jacob Rees-Mogg see them celebrating their nuptials. He might pass out.
You're better informed than I am. I don't know anything.
Couple of things about that. First, who's paying? Because I betcha that Bodge ain't paying. I bet he's not paying a single solitary penny for any of this. Who's paying, by the way? It'll be someone he has just or is about to elevate to the House of Lords. He's using that as a sort of cash machine. And I wonder if he said the bit about till death us do part yet. Because I've got some bad news, Carrie.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's about as believable as anything else he's ever said. He's promised that twice before. How did that work out for the lucky ladies?
Oh, fabulous.
I bet he can't make it through dinner without trying to cop off with the waitress. Perk of the job, eh, Bodge?
I can't comment on that.
Right, text and emails from last night. Can you put the today's at the bottom? Because otherwise I'll get very confused. That's an internal request. Nothing that you need to worry about, listener. Just pretend I didn't say it. David says, have you noticed that every time that Titchy Rishi... How about Tetchy Rishi? Every time he leaves his house, he manages to walk straight into the waiting car without ever needing to bend down to get in. You know, there's plenty else to pick on him about besides his height, over which he has no control. Everything else, go ahead and help yourselves. Ian tweets, Rishi looks like an action doll. Maybe you pull a string on the back and he says things like woke. Well, he does now. I'll get into that in a minute as well. These are all texts and tweets and emails from last night. This one says, Nick, your own interview with Suzanne Evans was pretty damn great. That was quite a demolition too. Well, this is in reference to the... I was banging on last night about my second favourite political interview ever, and I did play it very, very late on. Suzanne Evans. Who's Suzanne Evans? Who's Suzanne Evans?
I'll find out now.
Well, we're going to find out now. Checking while you wait. Too late. I don't know who Suzanne Evans is. Marion tweets, you're not often wrong, but you are about dogs.
What?
I was always sceptical until I adopted a greyhound who 3 years later on a sponsored walk smelt and recognised a lady who used to walk my dog when she was locked in a breeding kennel. My dog pulled me across the car park to her. Now, I was going on last night about how dogs are so stupid. And they're not in love with their owner, they're in love with dinner. And that's what probably, it's like Pavlov's dog. Smelt that lady. She smelt just absolutely marvellous.
Oh, fabulous.
Yeah, no, fabulous. And it reminded him of dinner. Drew tweets, Nick, the £400 goes straight to the energy company. It doesn't go into your bank account. Yeah, I was going on about this last night as well. Just keep in mind that when they give you, in inverted commas, £400 so you can pay your gas and lecky bill, they're not giving it to you at all. They're giving it to the gas giant that just put their bill through your door. It doesn't go to you. They're not giving the money to you. It's not a favour to you. They're taking your money and giving it to them. Trickle-up economics.
Absolutely.
And Evan says, I remember your interview with Godfrey Bloom, absolute radio gold. For a vague recollection of who Godfrey Bloom is, but I don't know who the other one was. Who's the other one? Do we know yet?
She's a UKIPper, Jason.
Oh, a UKIPper, right. Yeah, I don't really get on very well with them for a very good reason.
The arguments that UKIP stands for aren't valid.
Here's my second favourite radio political interview of all time. Ben Kentish was trying to talk to David Davis. So great they named him twice.
Can I ask you how you think the Sunak campaign is going? He was behind at the start. He now seems to be even further behind. Your team, his campaign, they're struggling to turn this around. Why is that? we're still 6 weeks out yet, and it depends who you're talking to. If you talk to the ordinary members of the public, the majority of them think that Rishi will make a better Prime Minister. I think he'll make a fantastic Prime Minister, really good one. And it's up to us to get that across. It's what we don't want to see is this turning into a sort of bidding contest, who can offer the lowest taxes and so on, but that kind of stuff. What we want to do is to have a contest with virtue. I think when it comes down to that, Rishi will win. It'll just depend, let's face it.
All political interviews should sound like that. That was great. I heard that in the car coming in. That was just before the big debate with Nick Ferrari. I was honking. That was hilarious. I think all political interviews should start like that. Start with some probing question and then turn up the music.
Rock and roll!
Who's with me? I mean, I don't think we missed anything. Do you? Drew tweets, oh no, Rod, that the 400 quid goes straight to the energy company. It doesn't go into your bank account. The energy companies, hip hip.
Boo!
Let's have a call in Croydon. Evelyn.
Hello, Nick. You asked if Mr. Johnson was paying for all his wedding reception.
Yeah, or any of it.
Well, I heard on the news today, apparently, one of the Tory party donors, where he's holding his reception on the wedding ceremony, belongs to one of the property is the property of one of the Tory party donors.
Right, you amaze me. I am stunned.
I assume maybe he's not paying. I can't say categorically that he's not paying, but I don't want to be accused of making false
accusations. Exactly.
Yes,
yeah.
But I would assume.
Evelyn, I would bet every stitch of clothing I'm wearing right now that he isn't paying a single solitary penny for any of the nuptials that he will be enjoying later on today, or has already enjoyed with whoever he enjoyed them with.
But how embarrassing, because even on his flat he had...
Evelyn, you would be embarrassed and I would be embarrassed. He is beyond shame.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
He has no shame. There's a great advantage to having no shame, to being shameless. It means that you can do pretty much anything you bloomin' well like without consequence.
He managed to appear on television too.
Yeah.
He got his mug on television as well.
Next time I see him on TV, I'm picking up my television, I'm throwing it out the window. That is my promise to you.
Nick, can I say this?
No.
When he comes on, I switch off. I just can't take it anymore.
No.
My friends do that too.
Yes. Quite right, Evelyn. Don't stand for any of that nonsense. You just can't take it anymore. I want you to go out of your window and open the window wide. And I want you to stick your head out the window, and I want you to say, I'm as mad as hell and I just can't take it anymore. And then a bloke will come in and say,
I'm taking you off the air. I think you're having a breakdown.
I think I'm having a breakdown. Thanks a lot, Evelyn. Cheers, my dear. Chris says, Nick, a few weeks back I asked if your soundbite, Come On, We're Running Late, was Jennifer Aniston, who guest starred in South Park. You said it was the bus driver, Miss Crabtree, who actually does say that as her catchphrase. But your soundbite is indeed Jennifer Aniston. I've checked it over and over again. It was from an episode when they went to the Amazon jungle. If you don't believe me, check it for yourself. I most certainly will do nothing of the sort. It's not Jennifer Aniston. Jennifer Aniston does not sound like this.
Come on, we're running late!
No, that's the, well, now I've just played it. It kind of does sound a little bit like her, but no, I'm pretty sure that's Miss Crabtree. Don't correct me. Joe says, Nick, Liz Truss reminds me of a Thunderbird puppet. It's it's hard to unsee this once you see it. Well, that is true, yeah. Well, they both do. Oh, my God. Did you see the video of them? I think it was the first debate. I think it was the ITV one. Did they do an ITV one, or was it the other side? Not ITV, the other side. And they were standing either side of a lectern as the camera moved towards them. Have you seen that? Oh, my God, it's one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life. They looked like two cardboard cutouts. I mean, and the camera got nearer and nearer and nearer, and they didn't twitch a single muscle. This sort of perma grin etched on their faces, and you're staring at it thinking, are they real? Or is this alive, or is it Memorex? But it was actually them. one of the most bizarre things I've ever seen. And the bizarre keeps coming at great speed, yes?
Yes.
Janine from Swanage says, Keir Starmer looks like Barney Rubble of the Flintstones. Well, now you've said that. Yeah, OK, yes, he does. Yeah, but I wouldn't have plucked that out of the air. Patrick in Guildford says, now, wait a minute, how many more of these have I got? Oh, my God. You see, this is the problem. I don't know how these people get my number, but they write and they write and they write. I got 10 pages of closely typed texts and emails that I've got to get through from last night before I start getting through the ones that have already come in from tonight. But you know me, I never complain.
Whinging and whining and moaning.
This is LBC. This is LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Tweet at LBC. Text 84850.
I just want to tell you all how happy I am to be back in the studio, making a picture again.
It's a radio show, dear. Dave tweets, I love the Russian impression. Oh, thank you. We'll all be speaking Russian soon. This tweet says, the best thing about the 1970s was when it was on its way to the 1980s. No. The 1980s didn't have anything at all that you didn't already have in the 1970s. I mean, the 1970s had the end of the hippie drippiness. Groovy. And then it had classic rock.
Rock and roll!
And then, after a brief pause, four things that all came in one year. Hip-hop, punk, disco, and two-tone, all at the same time. No other decade has got anything remotely like that. The 1970s was the best. And I'm not going to have any word to... I won't accept any words to the contrary. No. No. Debs in Yorkshire says, I grew up in the 1970s. I found that Radio Luxembourg and a young man called Nick Abbott. Also Emperor Roscoe. I was in my mid-teens and I had my little radio under my duvet trying to tune in. My very favourite decade, says Debs. Debs, you don't know what you're talking about, dear. I wasn't on Radio Luxembourg in the 1970s. How old do you think I am? No, I was on Radio Luxembourg in the 1980s, I think. Sort of mid-80s, something like that. My first proper job. The first place I started doing a talk show. I started out doing, the thing that they always do, like the top 20, top 40, something like that. We had the top 40, and you just played them in order, pretty much, every night. And somebody sent me a cassette of a guy called Neil Rogers, who was a talk show host from Florida. And I heard that, and that cassette changed my life. And I thought, I must do that. And this is what I do. I'm essentially doing a Neil Rogers impersonation, doing this show here. And I thought it up and did it without discussing it with anyone. I went from being a top 40 jock, hey, to playing almost no music at all and just doing a phone-in, and I didn't discuss it with anyone. I didn't tell management or anything. I just did it. Incredible to think that, really. And no one said a word at all. Management weren't even listening. Well, they were in another country, weren't they? We were in Luxembourg, and management were in London. I still, to this day, cannot believe that I got away with it. But it was my first job. I didn't know any better. I just thought I could do what I wanted. It's my right, I can do what I want, like that. And all these years later, still doing it.
Oh, fabulous.
This anonymous text says, regarding the best album, just about anything by Sparks. Oh, come off it. Anonymous. Yeah, no wonder you're anonymous, mate. Sparks. Well, this town ain't big enough for the both of us, that's for sure. He said, pretty big in the 1970s with Sparks, still around making really innovative music. By the way, have you seen the Edgar Wright documentary, The Sparks Brothers? It's excellent. No. Stop going on about Sparks. Let's have a call in Exeter. Hello, John.
Hello, Nick. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Good. Nice to talk to you. Do you know what? I don't know about you, but I'm so fed up of hearing the Tories tell us that they led us out of the pandemic.
Oh, my God, if I hear that one more time.
Oh, no. Things are so
the
bad.
The vaccine rollout. Yeah.
Yeah. I just wonder, can they lead us back into it, please?
That would be great, wouldn't it?
It would be better than what they
yes. Anything would be better than listening to this this confected nonsense that they're now spewing out in this wacky race to be the next dear leader.
You're absolutely right about the wacky races, right? I had to get suitably refreshed earlier on today so that I could watch the recording of the latest debate.
Oh, blimey, I would have had to have been refreshed too.
Booze.
And one of the questions got me that Sunak was asked, and I'm the same as you. I mean, I'm not a Tory, but I'm disappointed in him because he's let the Fembot or the Lizbot into pole position. But at one stage, he was asked a perfectly reasonable question by a lady about the cruelty that goes on in greyhound racing.
Right.
And he just sat there.
Well, what does he know about greyhound racing? What a question that was. That was the first question that he got from the audience. Can I talk to you about greyhound racing? I mean, come on. Talk about a curveball.
Exactly, and then he just sat there and sort of giggled about it, even though it's a serious subject. And then he said, "Oh, I've got a dog. Can they just stop doing this?" It's like if someone says, "Oh, what do you think about homeless people who've got no shoes?" Yeah. Well, I wear shoes all
I've
of
got
the time.
shoes, yeah. I'm a human being too,
shoes.
even though, despite all the evidence to the contrary. I'm human. I'm not a robot.
Affirmative.
Yeah, they have to keep telling us about their upbringing. Yeah. So it's like, what are you going to do about education? Well, I went to school, and so I understand the issues.
Yes, that's right.
Just
I drink water just like you do.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's gone beyond the joke, I think. And what's her name? Liz. I can't call her Liz. I never called Boris. I mean, no, I'm not going to say it because I'm on the radio.
He's not a pet. He's not a child, despite how he looks.
They finally managed to blow him out of the airlock. Do you remember that conversation you and I had about Alien?
No.
So they eventually blew him out of the airlock. But you know the line in Alien where they say, this one's lead acid for blood. Yeah. What's it going to do when it's dead? and what he's done is he's left behind these eggs. And I think they need to be... They probably want to take them back to the weapons division.
Well, the eggs are all going to be sitting on the benches in the House of Lords.
That's, I think, what it is.
Yeah, waiting to help out the dear leader. Yeah, they blew him out the airlock, all right, but he's clinging on to the fuselage. She needs to hit the thrusters. All right, thanks a lot, John. I heard that he mostly comes out at night. Mostly. It's not supposed to be a funny line. I mean, it's not a comedy. Spoiler alert.
Warning.
Alien is not a comedy, and neither is Aliens. In fact, none of them are. And they're not musicals either. It's not supposed to be a funny line, but it makes me laugh. Mostly. Get away from her, you bleep. James in Galicia in Spain says, "Hi, Nick. Whenever I start to worry about how rubbish and incompetent our next PM may be, I watch a clip of Boris talking about the model buses that he builds, and I realise that no one can ever be worse than him. I have never been happier than now that I'm in Spain." Yeah, thanks a lot, James. Yeah, you don't have to rub it in. Yeah, that is hilarious. I can't remember who's doing the quizzing, but he's being quizzed about what he does in his spare time. You know, he has business meetings in his spare time. And he sat there just trying to pull some lie out of the air, and he couldn't do it because the concept of, having a hobby is alien to him. Oh, he has a hobby, all right. It's the ladies. But you couldn't say that out loud, so he pretends he makes buses out of wine crates. Who does that over the age of 5? He makes buses out of wine crates. I mean, they're not even trying to lie convincingly, are they? They're just laughing at us. More fool us for putting up with it. I mean, good grief. But I do think, I was mentioning this last night, I do think that there's a change in the air. I don't think that people are putting up with it anymore. All of the stuff that used to work for them doesn't appear to be working for them anymore, and you can almost sense a sense of panic. In the newspapers and the Tory party, all of that, oh, look over there's a Marxist. That's not really working for them anymore. Oh, look, a dinghy! Even that doesn't appear to be working for them anymore. And once they've used up that good material and it's not getting the required response, well, they ain't got nothing else. And so, like an ordinary person would change tack. They'd, come at us in a different way. They'd boast about their good record. Yeah, they've got as many good records as Sparks. I'm kidding. But they've got nothing in that regard. I mean, the party of law and order? Oh, please. The party of fiscal responsibility? Come off it. What else are they good at? Oh, the NHS. Safe in our hands. So they can't do any of that. So all they've got now is wokery. And that's not really working for them anymore. It did for a while. The usual suspects got sort of frothingly furious about just nonsense stuff about statues and plaques and history and all of that. And right enough, it got a response from, the usual types. Those people. But once you use that up, it's very difficult to get furious about the same thing over and over again. I mean, the part about news that people like the best is new. And so you use that up and you've shot your bolt, Bernie. And so you need to come up with something else. You need to come up with something a bit more concrete than, or you're being picked on by wokeists. And an ordinary human being would try to come up with something else. They would think of, some new way to go on the attack. But this lot, they ain't got nothing. Because they've failed at every single thing that they've done since they were in power. Nothing that they've done you could count as a success. In fact, they themselves have been telling us how abysmal they are. If you look at those video clips on YouTube and on Twitter of the Lisbot and Fishy attacking each other about their own record, it tells you everything you need to know about the last 12 years. You don't need to listen to the Labour Party. The Tory Party are telling you how abysmal they've been on every measure. The only thing that they can come up with, and they repeat this over and over and over again ad nauseum, is, what about the vaccine rollout? And the only reason that the vaccine rollout went well is because Bodge and the kleptocrats in power got out of the way and let the experts get on with it, as opposed to trying to monetise it. And he got Brexit done. No, he didn't. It's still being got done. And we'll be continuing to try to get it done from now until the end of time. In fact, they don't want to get it done, because that's the other thing they've got. The French. It's constant war with the bloomin' French. So it's just deeply pathetic where they are now. And like I said, any ordinary human being would think up something else, but they ain't got something else. And so what do? They double down. They just repeat it, this woke stuff, but they repeat it louder. It's also, what would Donald Trump do?
I can be more presidential than anybody.
He can be more presidential than anybody. And it goes down well with only a certain demographic.
I love the poorly educated.
Bingo. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC. It's 10:30, the news headlines with Serena Farrow.
Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Are you trying to be funny? Because I'm all out of laughs.
Precious little funny left. Patrick in Guildford says, these are texts and tweets from last night. I'm just going through them. I haven't pre-screened them, so if there's any unpleasantness, it's not my fault. It was like that when I got here. Patrick in Guildford says, against any better advice he was given, Sunak's tax plan proves his huge elephant ears have done nothing to further his listening skills. Well, that's rude. Gillian Lancaster says, trim phones were radioactive. Well, they did glow in the dark. I do remember that. I discussed trim phones at length yesterday. It was very, very interesting.
Boring.
Carol tweets, I know it's very subjective, but I think the 70s music is abysmal. What? After all the great music of the 1960s, what the heck happened in the 1970s? Bread, the Carpenters, Lobo, disco, banal and insipid music. Things got better in the 1980s, but after the 90s it all went downhill. You're an idiot, Carol. And I mean that in a helpful way. Hey, there was a tweet read right at the top that I hadn't read. I was going to read that next. Where did that go? Oh, we're undoing what we just did. He's undeleting everything. Go on. Undelete again. And again. Do it. Do it. Go on, do it again. Do it again, or I'll scream and scream and scream till I'm sick. No, okay. Maybe I was. Maybe I'm hallucinating. 0345 6060 973. Here is a call in Maidenhead from a person called Paul. Paul.
Nick.
Paul.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Paul.
Oh, what a great show, mate. It's funny. I've got to stick up for 70s music. First of all, I've got to stick up for 70s music because I think 70s music is brilliant.
It's the best.
Yes, and 60s music, mid to late 60s, and the 80s is all right, and then it stopped.
all of the decades.
It all died in 95. That's
1995 specifically, yes.
Yes.
April the 13th, I think.
But my point was this thing about greyhounds, because I was a kennel hand for 32 of them.
Yeah.
And don't bet on a greyhound. They treat them like rubbish, and it's horrible. And I resigned from my job of looking after greyhounds because of the way the racers look after the greyhounds.
Yeah, well, I bet horses aren't treated that well either. I mean, when they have served their purpose.
Exactly. And what they do is they feed them up, and then they starve them, and then they just give them little, I don't know what it is, it's steroids or something, and make them lose a race, and then they go banging, and they win a race, and the odds are small, and it's horrible. Right. And I walked away from the job.
Okay, well, good move.
It was just a big shout out to all the greyhounds.
Shout out to all the greyhounds, yeah.
Yeah.
Love your work. All right. Thanks a lot, Paul. 0345 6060 973. A little bit too, as a pet, there's not much to sort of cuddle. They're just like a bag of bones, aren't they? I heard they're very, very lazy. I mean, you'd think that a greyhound would want to run and run and run and run and run and run and run. That taking it for a walk and exercising, it would be an absolute nightmare. You'd collapse at the end of every walk. But apparently they're not... Not that I'm an expert on this or any other subject, but what I heard was that they just can't be bothered to do anything. Very, very lazy dogs. Stuart texts, best album in many years, Daft Punk, Random Access Memories. This will be legendary in 30 years' time, as Dark Side of the Moon is now. Yeah, right. Deluded, Stuart. Simon in Crawley says, listen to Hand Cannot Erase by Stephen Wilson, or anything by his band Porcupine Tree. Truly groundbreaking album, sincerely, says Sir Simon. I don't know whether he means he is being sincere, or whether he is signing off. Sincerely yours, Simon. Stop talking about old albums. I've made this is quite clear. I've been very, very clear about this, to use a favourite Tory phrase. I have been very clear that the 1970s were the best decade for music. There is no question about that. 0345 6060 973. Bloomsbury. Hello, Sophia.
Good evening, Nick. I agree totally with what you've been saying.
Right.
As far as the current Conservatives are absolutely pathetic, even worse than what we had before. As far as mistrust, I can only think of, I mistrust her.
Mistrust?
Yeah.
I can't believe I haven't thought about that already. Mistrust!
Absolutely.
I'm taking that.
I love that one, yes. So why do they keep putting the increasing the bills on the people, haven't they heard of getting new energy? Like a coal, or people running down on the North Sea gas platform, or...
Are you listing new forms of energy? Coal and North Sea gas?
Yes, absolutely.
Coal is not a new form of energy.
Is any form of energy will do.
No, it won't.
Well, yeah, it's better than making us pay for it every time,
You'll pay for it one way or the other. Never mind. Unless you live in France, in which case it's akin to free compared with what we're paying. Are you speaking French now?
I don't normally mention the place, so I had to say something about it. I won't do it anymore.
No. Right. Well, you're making a lot of sense, Sophia, if that's any help.
Oh, it's very brilliant to give me the courage to go on and use the various resources.
I encourage you to go on as soon as possible.
But they must come up with some forms of energy. It's not down to the people every time they snap their fingers and they keep putting the bills up.
Yeah.
I mean, how boring. And
well, that is one way of putting it. Yeah, the bills keep going up. How boring. D-U-L-L, boring.
Yes. And boring as well. We can dig down underneath the...
and that would be boring too.
Yes, we might find some amazing force of energy.
Yeah, no doubt. Okay, well, after you.
Try nuclear power. They say it's safer.
Safer than what? Russian roulette? Okay, thanks a lot, Sophia. 0345 6060 973. James in Uxbridge says, I won't tolerate second place. Can you please play your favourite political interview, not your second favourite? No, I can't play my favourite one because that is James O'Brien dismantling Nigel Farage. I was explaining this yesterday. James O'Brien interviewed Nigel Farage and took him apart molecule by molecule. Left him a pulsating mess on the floor. I bet he still wakes up screaming.
I'm a nutcase.
So I can't play that because it takes too long. In a brief 3-hour show, I can only play my second favourite, which I've done already. You're welcome. Simon in Windsor says, genuinely groundbreaking... Oh, God, here we go again. Off the Wall by Michael Jackson, produced by Quincy Jones. It's just ignorance. It's just total ignorance. Anita texts, hi, Nick. The clown is organising his wedding at a donor's house and we're giving him free money. I think we need our heads examined. Well, I know I do. By the way, I am still extremely annoyed with this fighter jet pilot for not pulling the ejector seat. That's what I call missing the perfect opportunity. Absolutely. He had the opportunity. He had a little red button there. All he had to do was press it and his bodginess would have been launched into the thin air. He'd probably got stuck, though, wouldn't he? Like, the canopy would have flown off and then nothing would have happened because he'd be stuck in the cockpit. Gaz tweet, I'm amazed they could find a suit in his size. I think they stitched two together. Gaz tweets, do you think that when Fishy Sunak says he will stop woke nonsense... Nick, do you think when Fishy Sunak says he will stop woke nonsense means Team Choline? What does that mean? I have no idea what that means. But it fits right in. Let's have Kensington. Hello, Tony.
Yeah, hi there. How's it going?
Good, thanks.
Yeah, my name's Tony.
Is it?
Yeah. I wanted to talk about Keir Starmer.
Go on.
He's electric.
He is electric. Yeah,
he's
like Gary Newman. Yeah. Okay, thanks, Tony, for whatever that was. Kevin says, best album, U2, The Joshua Tree. No, not even close. Stop giving me best albums. The best album that has ever been made is either Dark Side of the Moon or Wish You Were Here. Select. It could be Trampled Underfoot, but I'm going to go with Wish You Were Here. This says, Nick, I think not Trampled Underfoot, Physical Graffiti. Physical Graffiti, not Trampled Underfoot. Or maybe the smoker you drink, the player you get. But I think that's a bit off the wall. Most people probably wouldn't have heard of that. And it's more an emotional favourite rather than me thinking that it's one of the best albums ever made. It's one of my favourite albums. Could actually be my favourite album. But that's just me saying that. This anonymous text says, Nick, I think the other guy in space was John Glenn. What, the guy who sang Wichita Lineman? No, I don't think so. Richard in Knightsbridge says, Rishi Sunak isn't suitable to be PM as he hasn't explained in detail his current American green card status and his wife's non-dom tax status. Yeah, he and her, they pay all of the taxes that are legally due in every jurisdiction in which they do business. That's what they always say, like they're reading off a legal pad. And Mike says, Nick, black squirrels do exist. Now, you would have had to have listened to last night to pretty much understand a single thing that I've said so far, and I understand that, and I apologise. I am very, very sorry. 0345 6060 973. In a while, I'll start to get to the texts and the emails that have come in tonight, but let's see how many I've got to do yet. Oh, my God. I'll never get through that lot. That's ridiculous. Stop texting me. Why can't you just leave me alone? 0345 6060 973. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbot, LBC.
Nick Abbot on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
You're wondering what it's all about, and I can't tell you because I don't know myself.
Paul in London says Kanye's college dropout debut album is pretty special, but you're right, it's going to be a long time before we get another Prince, Lennon or Marley. Well, I would say not Prince. I'd say Stevie Wonder. I'd say Paul McCartney rather than Lennon. And Bob Marley. Yeah, all right, I'll give you that one. Speaking of Bodger, isn't he having a massive party? I heard it would be off the hook, says Paul. This was a text that came in yesterday. I'm still wiping them up from yesterday. I am very, very bad at my job. It will be off the hook, and he is off the clock. We're still paying him, by the way. I mean, you know that, right? We're paying him £13,000 a month to be the Prime Minister of this country. How's he doing, by the way?
Oh, fabulous.
I mean, is he even thinking about the job that he's supposed to be doing? Good grief. The mess that we're in. I'll get into that in a minute. I have detailed files. Chris says, remember the Sunday lunchtime show with a man ploughing a furrow with his Shire horse and clippity-clop and violin theme tune? Then he'd show us how to make stuff. What? No, I don't remember any of that. Yesterday we were discussing how boring Sunday used to be. Not no more. Now you are entertained north, south, east and west. The entertainment is coming at you like a tsunami wave. St Ives, Brenda.
Good evening, Nicholas.
Brenda.
You are the very, very best presenter, not rubbish. you just said you were. I've got two questions I want to ask.
Question one.
Question one. Was it Talk TV that did the debate, one of the debates, that the presenter collapsed in front of them at the appearance of two stuffed
I think so,
mashy dolls looking at her?
That's right. Her brain just could not take it for a single another second.
Absolutely.
And if the brain closes down, so does the body.
Absolutely, and they had to cut it. The other question is really very serious. You know this £1,200 that the government is giving to us like a Christmas present?
£1,200?
Well, we had £150 on the council tax. We've got £650 for the people on benefits. We've got £150 for the disability people, right. And for us, like me, a pension at £300.
Okay.
Then we've got this. I get this £300 fuel allowance in November, so that gives me my £650 with the £300.
Okay.
And then in November, this is what gets me. in November, we get this £400 that we waited 5 months for, with Labour saying do a windfall tax on the energy companies, and they named it a completely innocuous name, didn't they? And that £400 will be paid at £67 a month for 6 months to our energy company.
Right.
But don't people have any conception that all of that money is our money, taxpayers' money?
Yep.
How can this £400 be a tax on the energy companies? They're getting off scot-free because the government are giving our money to us to give
to them.
Then they will give it to the energy. So
Bingo.
how can that's been bugging me for the last 2 days.
It is a bung to the energy giants. All of that money that you have just outlined is not going to us. It's going directly to them.
I know. It's just, and they keep telling us we're giving you all this money, and with this massive £400 that we're, clobbering the energy companies with.
Right.
They haven't been touched. They're still earning $500 billion in 2 months, or whatever it is.
It's $52 trillion that they have taken in pure profit. That's after all of their expenses, all of the wages, all of the taxes, everything. $52 trillion in 50 years. They make £2.3 billion a day.
I know. So there we are, the workers of this country, which Labour aren't supporting, and they kept the country going, all in COVID, all the ordinary workers, the bus drivers, the rail, the shopkeeper, blah, blah, blah. Yep. They are the slaves now. They are all the slaves. We're exactly in another dose of slavery, and it's the slaves and the globalists and the hierarchy, and we're the slaves.
Yep, I'm finding it difficult to pick a hole in that argument there.
You're on
Brenda.
my page.
I am on your page. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
No, thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers, Brenda. Yeah, she's right. All of this so-called generosity by the government, that they're giving you money for this and money for that, it is basically taking money. It's the opposite of what they're saying. They're not giving you money, they're taking money from you, because they're not just inventing this money out of thin air. Well, of course they can, but the money that they're taking is going from you to the energy giants. It's not the other way around. They're not giving you money. They're giving the energy giants money and basically telling them that they can charge whatever they like. Same thing with Help to Buy. They sold it to us as, we're being so generous to you because we're going to help you buy these crappy little houses that the developers have put up with the tiny little windows and no cupboards. And a living room that is as small as a kitchen that's actually got a kitchen in it. That's how bad they are. And the developers said, that's great, thanks very much. Well, pretend that we're selling them at a discount so we can put up any old rubbish and people will buy it because they're desperate. Because they think, we're getting a discount here. But they're not getting a discount. They're not giving you money, they're giving the developers money. Everything is the opposite of what they say. Whatever they say, just think, what's the opposite of what they've just said? And that will be the truth. Till death us do part, eh, Bodge?
I can't comment on that.
Yeah, right. It is painful. It really is. It's actually quite incredible what's happening here. It's not a government, it's a smash and grab raid. And I'll keep saying that over and over and over again. Let's have Devon. Hello, Rose.
Oh, hello, Nick. Well, look, I'm on the same vein as that was Brenda, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And my word for it is this is not what I'm talking about, but they're an occupying force. We have been taken over.
Yeah, it's a coup. It's a coup. In America and here, it's a slow-moving coup. Not so slow anymore, actually.
No, it's not so slow. And what I want to say about these energy people is they are making fortunes from the destruction of other people's lives.
Yes.
Quite simply.
Well, the destruction of that's in the short term. The destruction of people's lives in the short term, but the destruction of the planet in the long term.
Well, yes, that's another issue, isn't it? I mean, we keep hearing this. We will be paying 2,000, 4,000.
Yeah.
We will not be paying 2,000 and 4,000 because we have not got £4,000.
Right.
I mean, literally, for many people, that is completely literal. And in my case, it's my meagre savings, and I'm going to be then reduced to bed-sit living long before I need have done, I am not doing it. I'm not paying it. I mean, I will freeze to death first. I'm sitting here with a torch. I've switched the fridge off.
No, don't switch the fridge
off. I wash up in cold water. No, I'm not paying it. Why should I pay these people to live in the manner to which they've been accustomed, to ruin my own life? And we're already owning these bills. They're not our bills, Nick. They're indiscriminate sums that these people are flinging at us. And then we say, will I be able to pay my bill? It's not mine. It's nothing to do with me. You know, who are these people? Are they kings or something, these energy people?
I am completely in agreement with you. If we were
I rang you and not some other person.
Right, correct. You made the right decision there, Rose. If we were in France, our bills would have gone up 4%. I do a podcast with Carol McGiffin.
Yeah.
And her bill, she lives in France, her bills have gone down. Down, they've gone. They actually gave her a rebate. They've gone down in France. In this country, they're going up 400%.
Because we put up with it.
Yep. Well, people continue to vote for what they think they know they're going to get. I mean, the amount of times I've been told, I knew what I was voting for. Well, it's hard to believe that this is actually what they voted for, but if they insist...
Well, I think they vote for them because they makes them feel good because they're siding with the toffs. I mean, I think people's self-image is terribly important to them. I've been through that. I don't care a bit about it now.
I don't think it's the toffs part. I think that people vote for the party that punches down, that makes you think that the problem with your life is the people below you on the ladder. They're pulling you down. That's what you're led to believe. The opposite is true. It's not the people below you on the ladder pulling you down. It's the people above you on the ladder pushing you down.
But people daren't think that. You know, it's so much easier to think it's Joe Boggs down the road who hasn't had a job.
Right,
you know,
exactly.
It's all his fault.
Benefit scroungers, yeah.
Yeah, well, they were told they were scroungers. George Osborne stood there basically saying people have got their curtains closed, they're scroungers, and disabled people are scrounging.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people are just too credulous.
You know, I think that the tide has turned, though, on that. I don't think people are buying that argument as much anymore. And you can kind of...
so, darling?
Well,
I wish...
you know, you can kind of sense it in the air almost. And I tell you the thing that really makes me think that's true is people's response to Mick Lynch. Before, a union leader was painted as the enemy of the people by the right-wing press, by the Tory government, and the public bought it. They were booing them. They thought that this is a person who's ruining this country, and why can't we get a train and look at the destruction they're causing? People aren't buying that anymore. They're actually responding to Mick Lynch like he's a hero. So their argument isn't working anymore, and I can tell you right now what their response is going to be. It's going to be to double down. They're not going to back off. They're not going to change tack. They're going to double down. But I think we're ready for them. I think that the people have actually changed their minds about this and other allied subjects. Everything that you just talked about, Rose. Yeah, I tell you, I wish you all the best. Do you really have to turn your fridge off? Rose?
Well, because I refuse to pay this. I've got cold water. I shove my things in the cold water, and I've also got an insulated lunch bag which keeps the hummus.
Right.
To keep the hummus and the tofu breast. And tofu. Sorry, I know you want to.
No, who doesn't like a little squirt of hummus every now and again? Rose, I wish you all the best. Thanks very much for that. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbot, LBC.
Farrow.
This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbot.
This is absolute tosh.
Shut up.
I can't. 0345 6060 973. Oh, I should remind you, I do a podcast with Carol McGiffin.
Yeah.
We're taping tomorrow, so if you want us to have a bash at your issue, then you must send it to us straight away, if not sooner. send it to the following address, nickandcarol@global.com, NICKANDCAROL @global.com, and prepare yourself for a certain amount of satisfaction. It's called What's Your Problem with Nick and Carol, in which the delightful Carol McGiffin and I try to solve people's problems while laughing our faces off. There's 120-odd episodes up there for your delectation and delight. I just cannot believe that we've done so many, but we have. We just pull that material out of our ears, and I do guffaw a lot while doing it. I think it's funny, and she thinks it's funny, and I reckon you'll think it's funny too. If you haven't heard it, then you'll find it on an internet near you. Ask for it by name. What's Your Problem with Nick and Carol? It's on Global Player, by the way, which you should have in your life, from your favourite app store. It's got all the radio stations that we do. It's got Capital and Heart and X and Classic. Oh, Classic FM. My favourite. So relaxing. And many others. I'll stop trying to think of them now because I will forget certain very important ones, which would be a mistake. Helen in King's Lynn says, good evening, Nick. I've had my taste buds tingle by your latest Habit on Global. Oh, the Nick Abbott Habit. That's the other podcast that I do. It's like a best of, 30 minutes. It comes out on a Monday, the Nick Abbott Habit. I went back to the whole show in March 2020, she says. Have you still got your stoic marigolds? No. That was at the height of the mad bat disease. And I was doing this show in marigolds. Have you ever worn marigolds for 3 hours? The sweat that comes off your hands, you wouldn't believe it. Very, very uncomfortable. I mean, it's funny to think about that now, but I mean, everyone was freaking out. And that podcast, the Nick Abbott Habit, is clips from old shows. And I am sort of going through the beginning of the mad bat disease. The one that's coming out on Monday, I've skipped from March to August because I pulled up an episode in March, and it was like 3 hours of serious because it just got really, really serious for a while there. And I couldn't find my funny bone. I totally lost it. And I thought, well, maybe I'd better skip ahead because people won't really want to, relive all that nightmare. So I'll skip ahead to the funny. So I went ahead a few months, and it's COVID-free, the one that's coming out on Monday, the Nick Abbott Habit. I know this is getting confusing because I do 3 different podcasts, but if you just do a web search on my name, Nick Abbott Podcasts, I bet it will all become clear as though by magic. But anyway, she says, did you get cloth inserts for my marigolds? Because that's what I was thinking. Because I didn't want to touch anything in here. Because, disgusting. People have been in here. People. And, because everyone was freaking out. It seems weird now to think back, but people used to leave their shopping outdoors for 3 days before they brought it in, and then washed everything. I was washing cardboard boxes of cereal after having left them outside for 3 days in the winter, of course. Well, not in the winter necessarily, but when it was cold. And I did this show sitting here at this desk with marigolds on, trying not to breathe in. Did you get cloth inserts? No, I didn't. Did you ever find out what the small but long-legged bird was that remained a mystery during 2021? No, but I keep looking for it. Don't make me go through that again. There was a small grey bird with ridiculously long legs that was wandering about a shopping centre in near Reading. And then I saw it again in Surrey. Bizarre. Like the kind of thing that you think, well, what are those long legs for? Maybe wading about in the shallows in the water. But it wasn't in the shallows in the water, it was in a blooming shopping centre. Stupid bird. Rory asks, hi Nick, can you confirm if there is a non-zero chance of the Chinese rocket that's hurtling out of space to hit somewhere on Earth, we don't really know. Is there a non-zero chance of the rocket hitting Mar-a-Lago? Wouldn't that be great?
Oh, shut up!
0345 6060 973. Weymouth, hello Mark.
Hi there, yes.
Hello there.
I'd like to speak... Hi there.
Hello there.
I would like to speak about Sam Tarry. Keir Starmer's, sacking of him. I'm not going to lie, I'm pretty angry, and I think I'm pretty angry in a way that you'd be quite surprised at. I'm actually angry about Sam Tarry, actually.
Right, yeah.
I think Sam Tarry's done that on purpose to undermine Keir Starmer, because Sam Tarry, I know at the moment, is currently going under a deselection process as an MP.
Yeah.
And he's also... he was also told by Keir Starmer not to do any interviews. Mm-hmm. He went out on the picket line. He did it on purpose.
Yep.
He made up policy. He did it on purpose to undermine Starmer. And then you have people like John McDonnell, Diane Abbott, people like that who are cheering him on. And to me, it just seems like a bit of a coup on the left of the party, just to try and undermine Starmer more than anything. That's kind of my point on it.
This is so typically left that you could set your watch by them. They are going to have a fight about purity amongst themselves. Yeah. They'll wrestle each other to the ground, and the Tories, who are equally divided, will all get in a row. They'll get their ducks in a row. And step over the fighting form of the left-wingers and take the tape again. And again. And the left will always do this. They're so blooming typical of them. They just cannot get their act in order.
No, exactly. This is the thing. I mean, we're like 11 points ahead in the polls. We're doing really well. Mm-hmm. I think, yes, Starmer does have his faults. Of course he does. But you're never going to get a leader who is going to be 100% perfect to the voter.
Yeah. Here's how stupid the left are. They will not vote. They would rather lose than vote for somebody who is less than perfect. That's how stupid they are. The right wing, meanwhile, they don't care about any of that. They will do anything to take power and hang on to it.
Exactly.
Which is why they keep winning all the time.
Exactly. I mean, I'm a centre-left Labour person. I'm 25 and I've been voting Labour all my life.
25 years old?
Yes. But I've got to say that it really angers me that people are this stubborn in general.
Yeah.
Because not only does it let the Tories back in, but it just makes the Labour Party look extremely weak, and it's such a shame. It really is.
Yeah, it's pathetic, and it is like a masochistic streak that goes through them. They actually enjoy losing, and
they do.
And I tell you what, they are 10, 11 points ahead at the moment, but they will fashion a way to lose next time. Yeah. I betcha.
Yeah, I mean, it's just such a shame, because when you have someone like Owen Jones, for instance, who's, obviously on the Corbyn side of the party, and you have him calling out Starmer, saying to call abuse to him in the street and stuff like that. It just goes.
Well, I don't know if he told people to call him out in the street. I didn't see that. I mean, I don't really. Follow him, but
he said to film it and call him a liar and things like that. Which is ridiculous.
The left are so stupid. I mean, really, they're so dense you could use them to bang a nail in the wall. It's painful. All right, thanks a lot, Mark. It's not going to get any better anytime soon. They would prefer to lose than vote for somebody who is not completely perfect, which is why they lose all the time. The Tories, they know how to win. I mean, they're having a fight now. Fishy and the Liz bot, they're having a fight now, but when one of them wins, everybody will be in agreement with each other. They won't have a fight in public. They know how to win. I mean, the Labour Party are up against it as it is, because they're going to have the left of centre vote split between a multitude of parties. Whereas if you're on the right, you only really got one party. Particularly now that UKIP has staged a reverse takeover of the Tories.
The arguments that UKIP stands for aren't valid.
I mean, is there anything that UKIP actually stands for that is not part of the Conservative manifesto? I mean, it's worse than UKIP. It's even more to the right wing of UKIP. They're like an extreme party now. Or they've absorbed or been absorbed, the Tories, by all of the right-wing parties. There's pretty much one choice now if you're on the right. And there's a minority of people in this country that are that far right-wing. Always has been. It's under 40%. Bodge got his stonking majority by getting, 46% of the vote? Which means that the majority of the people did not want a right-wing party. They voted for the left-wing parties and got nothing. Again. It's painful, it really is. It's excruciating. Because if they could just get their act in order, then they would win. But they don't want to. Never mind, it's just life. Thanks a lot, Mark. 0345 6060 973. Anne says there are black squirrels in Letchworth in Hertfordshire. 2 exclamation marks. No, I wouldn't think so, Anne. Paul says, I think they put you in prison on the Isle of Man if you're not a company director or arrive with a suitcase full of clothes instead of money. Yeah, I think that's true. Mike says, where is Mike from Beverley? I haven't heard from him in about... haven't heard from him for about 15 minutes. 15 minutes has gone by. Oh, there he is. Let's have Portland... No, hang on a minute. Portland, Oregon. Hello, Jake.
Hey, Nick. How's it going?
Good, thanks.
I got a couple of two things. All right, first one's a question. It's tricky. So, in your opinion, are you going rainbow or deep purple?
Is that my only choice? Rainbow or deep purple?
Well, yeah, which one's better? I mean, they're both Richie Blackmore.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering which Blackmore band you think is better.
I don't really enjoy listening to either of them very much. I mean,
you're not big on.
No,
right.
Not really. They both have good songs, but I don't own an album of either band. So there's your answer.
All right.
Neither of the above.
That's fair. My other thing, just an observation. I was thinking about it, and you can't help but draw comparisons between the orange one and Bojo.
Yeah.
But it's almost like if Boris Johnson getting outed is almost like Trump getting outed. But now you guys have Ivanka Trump and Don Jr. running against each other.
Well, I hadn't thought about it like that. Now I'm really upset.
Yeah, it's pretty silly. And be careful what you wish.
Well, yeah, exactly.
It was a hilarious one. Well, and look what you did, Nick.
Right. Yeah, my fault. Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
All right. Thanks a lot, Jake. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we got Ivanka and Jared running to lead this country. It is excruciating. What do you think, Melania?
I don't care.
She's not that bothered. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's at LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC.
This is LBC. This is LBC with Nick Abbott.
Okie dokie.
0345 6060 973. Simon in Wimbledon says, expanding ULEZ. What are your thoughts? The ultra-low emissions zone. It's going to get bigger, or has it got bigger already? I don't know. I think it's probably a good thing, What's interesting about this thing that Vlad the Insaner is doing to us all is that it's actually fast-forwarding a lot of changes that we really should have been making all along. I mean, turning off the lights on buildings at night, for instance. You go through the City of London, and probably a location near you too, and you'll see that giant office buildings have got their lights blazing all night long, all day long at the weekend. There's no one in there. There's no one in there. Why have they got their lights on all the time? I used to think that it was businesses who wanted passers-by in the business community to think that they were still working. Friday night, the lights are still on at midnight, and they think, oh, well, that's a very well-run company. All those people are still at their desks. No, they're not. They just can't be bothered to turn the lights out. And turning the spotlights off buildings, like for France and Germany and places here, there and everywhere, baby, they're doing that kind of thing. But stopping hot water in public buildings, you don't really need it. You don't need tanks of hot water just so that you can wash your hands for 2 seconds after you've gone to the loo. So, yeah, I mean, it's the massive waste. So I think people are thinking about that. Good thing too. We should have been thinking about it all along, and then maybe we wouldn't be in this mess in the first place. But I think it is. These are positive things that might, the small positives that might come out of the massive negative that is being caused by Vlad the Insaner. It's excruciating, really, that just one bloke is doing this to us. There's, 7 billion people on Earth, and one bloke is doing this to us. Painful. 0345 6060 973. Chelmsford. Hello, Robbie.
Hi.
Robbie.
Yeah, so I've got a light-hearted element and a dark-hearted element. I think it's the only opposition that could be proposed. But the light-hearted element is to validate, even though I was definitely against your proposition that the 1970s were the best decade for music, actually, having looked back and embraced my own love of Genesis. Do you know Genesis, Nick?
Yes, I've heard of Genesis, yes. Now, are you talking about Phil Collins' Genesis or Peter Gabriel Genesis?
Oh, that's dangerous territory. I'm good with both, but that in itself is controversial.
Very controversial. Which is the best album?
Both. I think Duke.
Duke is the right answer.
Thank you very much. But also, the one I was thinking of when I looked back at the chronology of the Genesis albums, it's Wind and Wuthering, which is what got me into Genesis. At the time when my dad was passing away, we came to understand that actually, even though I thought my dad was a big Phil Collins junkie, he was actually mainly into Genesis. And that got me excited and got me into Genesis and gave me my favourite ever band. And so thank you for bringing this up. You've revalidated my love of that band.
Well, I'm glad to be a revalidator.
And I'm glad that you enjoy them as well. But my darker-hearted side of things is we're also talking about the Tory leadership race.
Yes.
And I am, by the way, I'm someone who used to be, I have to, full disclosure, you've got to be honest about these things. I was a rabid Brexiteer. I voted for both Theresa May and Boris Johnson.
Right.
Well, OK, we exist in a parliamentary democracy, but I voted for the Tories in both of those elections.
Oh, well, let me ask you this, Robbie. How's it working out for you?
No, not so great. Not so great. I will... It seems almost fantastical to say, but I'm now of a position where I'm basically a socialist. I am against anything that the Tories are saying at this point. Both the leadership candidates are disappointing. I have involved myself as much as I can because I've become very politically engaged. I wanted Tom Tugendhat or a Penny Mordaunt or somebody who would just stop the culture wars. Because, Nick, at this point, I think all we can expect is to just stop having fights about, unisex toilets.
Statues.
And statues.
Robbie,
and all.
We're going to have to come to understand that the culture wars are all they have left. That is what they are going to run on the next election. It's because they don't have anything else. They can't say they're the party of law and order, or that they're the party to save the NHS, or they're the party of fiscal responsibility, or foreign policy, or you name it. They can't say any of those things, and we know that. They've been there for 12 years, and they failed in every single regard. So all they have left is the culture wars thing.
I mean, certainly not when they're elected or they're proposed QC. Suella Braverman, who is the Attorney General of the UK, has decided to not allow or to impose upon us all of us, that we will no longer allow government departments to know whether or not their bills
acting
are
illegally
or
or not. Yeah, staggering. I mean, it's just incredible.
Beyond staggering. And this is, by the way, I speak to someone who voted Brexit. I have to own it. I have to accept it. I made a mistake. I accept this. I've had conversations with your colleagues, Tom Swarbrick, James O'Brien, on this topic. Let's not dig into my failures, but the people that actually govern us, they have failed. And we have to address this.
Now, I don't know. Well, now, hang on a minute. Have they failed? Because they have failed in what they said they were going to do, but I don't think they have failed in what they wanted to do. I think they've been tremendously successful. I mean, they've made a boatload of money, they and their friends. I mean, if that was the plan, huge success.
I love your sound effects.
All right.
To a degree, yes. Yes. However,
a degree.
On a serious note, they have lost people like me, and I'm not a party of one. There are many people like me who are
Right, you've seen the light. Glad to help. Glad to hear it, Robbie. Welcome to the real world. Thanks a lot, mate. 0345 6060 973. John says, Nick, I am in a state of mourning after the last ever Neighbours aired. Huh. The last ever Neighbours. I know that was a big thing in the papers. I don't have any knowledge in that regard. I've got no clue. Never seen... I don't think I've ever seen a whole... what do you call them? Soap. A soap. A whole episode of any soap. I haven't seen Coronation Street all the way through. I haven't seen EastEnders all the way through. I'm certain I haven't seen Neighbours or any of the others, the names of which escape me at the moment. I am immune to their attractions. But, yeah, I know it was a big deal, but really, who cares? Jack says, Nick, please don't be so negative about Dubai. It's a perfect holiday destination for many people I know, and I don't want them turning up in Tuscany and ruining my holiday. Why would anybody go to Dubai? Are you people out of your minds? Let me tell you what the weather is going to be like in Dubai, because I've got it in my phone. Oh, my God, you've got to be kidding me. People fly over Italy to get to Dubai. This is what those people are thinking. They're confused. It's going to be... Well, I mean, of course, it's unremittingly sunny every single day, not a cloud in the sky. And tomorrow is going to be 107, Monday 109, by Wednesday it'll be 111, and then it stays that way, 112, 113, 112, 111, 111, 110. Why would anybody go there on holiday? I'd rather go to Skegness. I mean, I really would rather go to Skegness. If you paid me, I'd go to Dubai. If it was free and I had spending money from you, under those circumstances I would go. If I had to pay a single solitary penny to get there, I wouldn't. It just mystifies me why anybody goes there. And the only thing I can think is that they gave a lot of free holidays to celebrities. They gave free houses to footballers. Oh, well, the lads done great, and it's all credit to the lads, and the lads done great, and it's all credit to them. Those people who got their pictures taken a lot. And it looked like it was glamorous. And the sun was definitely going to shine. Yeah, you'll burst into flames if you leave your hotel. So I think it's that influencers got photographed in Dubai, still do, and people thought, oh yeah, I'd like to be like those people. Well, you're not going to be like David Bloomin' Beckham. Go somewhere else. Go somewhere that has a climate that's suitable for human beings would be a good idea. 0345 6060 973. Milton Keynes, hello, Mark.
Oh, Nick, sorry, I'm not in Milton Keynes right now. I'm in Portugal.
Mark, can you call me when you get to Milton Keynes?
Could be, I might have to wait a month or something like that. Listen.
Yes.
Can I just big up the 70s, man? Because honestly, I can't believe these people saying the 70s was no good. Look, 70s was my decade. Not only did we have the summer of 76 and the summer of 77, which was pretty good too.
Yeah.
But look, Pink Floyd, yes, Arthur Brown, Man, Wishbone Ash, John Martin, Bob Marley, Gladiators, Santana, Dr. John, Little Feat,
Gladiators?
Joe Wall, Don Martin.
Who are the Gladiators?
Oh man, they're a reggae band. They were so good. Just another one of those that summer with
right.
You know,
were they as good as Black Uhuru?
Oh, they were better than Black Uhuru.
Better.
Different.
I'll definitely have to look them up straight away, if not sooner. Mark, I'm afraid we've run out of time. I know you've got a big long list there. Can you pop it down on a postcard? Thanks very much. I appreciate it.
you.
0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's at LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC, it's 11:30. Oh, blimey, I'm on the wrong page. Hang on a minute. It's the news headlines here with Serena Farrow.
Leading Britain's conversation. LBC with Nick Abbott.
Would you mind telling me what this is all about?
Yeah, all right then. Vlad the Insaner is shutting off the gas to Europe. The monkeypox is coming our way. People are putting food back on the shelves in the supermarket because they can't afford the price at the till. The climate emergency seems to be reaching a tipping point of no return. There's strikes in practically every corner of the land. China is threatening to blow the plane of one of the top American politicians out of the air. Hosepipe bans are coming back while water companies waste billions of litres every day. The rights we thought would always be ours are being hacked away. Businesses are going bust because that bonfire of red tape turned out to be an extra mountain of it. You can't get out of the country because those who wanted to stop freedom of movement got what they voted for. Every single thing that so-called Project Fear warned about Brexit turned out to be Project Fact. The NHS is in need of emergency surgery. People are waiting so long for an ambulance that they were young when they called for one and are dying of old age by the time it arrives. And what are the government doing about it? Well, the actual blooming Prime Minister is busy playing at soldiers and organising parties, and the rest of them are having a beauty contest to see who is going to be the next ineffectual incompetent to take over this kleptocratic regime. Except it's not even a beauty contest. It's an ugly contest. They're competing to see how low they can go. And the answer is, there is no depth to which they are not prepared to sink to get their hands on the top job, or to ingratiate themselves with the one that will. I mean, even the ones that we thought were normal human beings, not animatronic, hate-spewing fury mongers, are getting in on the act. Tom Tugendhat has thrown his hat behind Liz the Brains Trust, saying that she embodies traditional conservative values and is true to her word. Really? Which words? The ones when she said she was for the abolition of the monarchy? Or the ones when she said she wanted to stay in the European Union? Or the ones when she said she was a liberal Democrat? I mean, she can be trusted about as much as Boris Johnson can be trusted, and he can be trusted about as much as his role model can be trusted.
I'm a person that wants to tell the truth. I'm an honest person.
And despite absolutely everything she has said about anything, the Lizbot is ahead in the race to capture the hearts of the heartless. You know, the golf club bores. The I'm doing fine, thanks very much, comfortable white middle-class old geezers that will decide the next ringmaster in this catastrophic clown show. What an absolute shower, eh, Bodge?
I can't comment on that.
No, you can't comment on that because you're flat on your back, drunk off your face, having another business meeting. And now the normalish one in this wacky race between Penelope Pitstop and Peter Perfect has decided that he has to pretend to be all on board with some confected culture war nonsense. Or rather, the focus groups and the cloud of eager plotters and advisors have decided that for him, because there's no way he dreamed up this stuff by himself. You know, while selecting which pastel cashmere hoodie he was going to lounge around in that day. It's just not him, is it? The Lizbot wears the mantle of mean really well. It's like she's a pantomime Margaret Thatcher impersonator playing the role of Cruella de Vil in 101 Dalmatians. She does evil almost as well as Priti Patel. But not comfortable, soft-shoed, fishy Sunak. He's too rich, too detached from all of that to have even thought of joining the culture wars until now. And you have to wonder why he's so keen to get the job. I mean, what's in it for him? We can dismiss that he's doing it as a favour to the rest of us. I mean, does anybody believe that?
No.
I mean, he's not doing it for a public service. Not if he can switch direction midstream to embrace opinions that would have been alien to him last week. You know, just to increase his chances of sitting in number 10. So what is it? Is it on his bucket list, maybe? You know, like getting a gold card at the Prada boutique, or owning his own Himalayan cashmere goat farm, or one day being big enough to buy adult-sized clothes. And if not that, then why? Why is he so keen? I mean, he could do whatever he wants. Money is accepted everywhere, and he's got a lot of it. I mean, I get why the Lizbot wants the gig. I mean, what's she going to do outside politics that could make her as much as a PM makes? You know, what with all the opportunity to monetise the position. Something that has been honed to a chaotic art by the current incumbent. I get that. I get why the Lizbot wants the job. But why is Fishy so keen? I mean, you have to assume it's the power. But he doesn't seem like the sort of guy to enjoy power over others. He's too timid. So it must be the power to make more money, to deregulate the finance racket so that he can, someday, have more money than his wife. I mean, that's it, isn't it? It's embarrassing for him to have less cash than his other half, so he can compensate for feelings of inadequacy by acquiring more power in place of, or as well as, more cash. That's who we're faced with. A desperate example of cartoon wickedness, or a small boy who wants to be someone. What a way to run a country, eh?
Dreadful.
0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Stanwell. Hello, Michael.
Hello, Nick.
Michael.
How are you doing?
Good, thanks.
Good stuff. Look, the problem with the energy and whatever else, they're still gaining massive profits, and we're paying, extortionate prices. All of these businesses, these energy companies, if you Google any of them or go on the company's house, it takes you to their company, and then they're affiliated with all of these different companies. You can never find a person that benefits, an individual. Okay, and what we need to do...
Well, there is no individual owner. I mean, there's the CEO. He's the individual. No. Or she.
Nick, people get dividends. They get paid out personally.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
But there's loads of them.
I know, but we need to know who these people are. Okay, we need transparency, okay, worldwide. Because the climate problem that we have is caused by people that have lots and lots of money invested in lots and lots of companies. And if we can have the transparency, then we can see how our government are acting and the reasons why they're not taxing the companies.
Well, it's not really, it's not a great secret. Most shares are owned by the top 10 or 20 richest families in the world.
Exactly, including our own. But what we need to do, Nick, is we need to make sure that we can see what they earn, and the policies that are made in all governments around the world are not being made to benefit the people that are at the tops of the countries. Do you understand what I'm saying, Nick?
Michael, did you vote for Brexit?
Of course I wouldn't.
Right, OK. Well, those that did voted for exactly the opposite of what you've just said. The reason I believe that we're out of the European Union is because they wanted to shine a light on the dark recesses of the financial finagling racket. And, and just a handful of billionaires thought, oh, no, you don't. So we're out. And then this tsunami of untruths came our way. And just enough people, believed it. And that's where we are right now. OK, Michael, keep on keeping on. Thanks a lot, mate. 0345 6060 973. On the subject of that bird that I was going on about, God, it seems so long ago. I think it probably was maybe a year or more ago. I saw this very, very strange bird. And shows went by and I just couldn't talk about anything else. Or people refused to let me talk about anything else. The bird is a wagtail, and its long legs allow it to dodge people and cars while catching insects killed by cars. You'll see them in supermarkets up and down the land. Does anybody believe that?
No.
No, not really. I mean, it may well be a wagtail. They are similar. I've spent a lot of time looking it up, but I couldn't find one that looked exactly like the one I saw. And I saw it twice in 2 separate months in 2 separate locations. And it has not grown, it's not evolved to grow long legs to dodge people and cars. Jade tweets, the 90s were boring. We played out all day, came in when it got dark, made dens, music was great too. I think our generation was the last to experience true boredom. says Jade. The 90s? Yeah, I guess there wasn't any internet then. Wasn't any internet, nor smartphones, nor nothing. Mind you, you had Channel 4. What else do you want? Shahaf says, Nick, it's too late for my sanity, but you definitely keep me amused. Yes. People have to stop saying I'm keeping them sane. I mean it. Matt and Sidcup says, evening, Nick, new soundbite idea. Liz Truss saying, we import 2/3 of our cheese. That is a disgrace.
That is a disgrace.
You can thank me later, he says. Oh, no, actually, you can thank me now. I'm way ahead of you there, Matt. Let's have a call in Merthyr Tydfil. Hello, Rob.
Good evening, Nick.
Rob.
A two-part call, if I may. Before I come on to the political part of it, what prompted me to call was earlier when you made the reference to the two best albums ever by Pink Floyd.
Yeah.
And then you made a reference to a third album by the great Joe Walsh.
Yes.
And what made me ring was at that moment you mentioned that my wife and I were driving back to our home from Cardiff, having just been to see an excellent Eagles tribute band.
Oh, yeah.
And one of the tracks they played was Rocky Mountain Way.
Rocky Mountain Way, all right.
Rock and roll! They did a blistering version of it. Absolutely great show. They're called the Illegal Eagles, if anyone wants to go and see them. They're fantastic.
Right.
And very quickly on 70s music, which was the best, Genesis, Up to Wind and Wuthering, prior to the departure of Steve Hackett, is the only Genesis to listen to.
No, I don't think so.
Oh, I disagree. If you get a chance, if you haven't already done so, go and see Steve Hackett in concert.
Well, I don't think I'm going to do that. You can't make me, because I don't want to.
I would pay for you, because I know you'd enjoy it.
I'll see you at the ticket booth. Leave me my name.
Yeah. Okay, on to the second part of my question now, and I just want to quote the excellent Chris Bryant when he talks about the shower of shenanigans that are currently governing us.
Yes.
I've got a big, big worry, and I want to ask you a question about a prediction you could make for me. If Labour continue to keep their finger on the self-destruct button as they do, or the left of politics do, and this lot get back in, and then they proceed with the privatisation of the NHS. Now, I know the Golf Club Blazer Brigade and the Blue Rinse Brigade have probably got enough assets to pay for their medical treatment.
They'll all have private medical insurance. Don't you worry about that.
Yeah, but there's going to be a significant number of people who voted for them who won't have the resources to do that.
No.
And when they realise that they've undergone the Brexit version of the NHS, what the hell are this government going to do to double down, as you say, on that and explain how it's in their benefit?
They won't have to, because people who have made the decision to Brexit, they made the decision to vote for the party that over the last 12 years has been acting out with their interests, they have put themselves in a position that to admit their mistake, to admit that they have made an error, would be to lose face. And so they're not going to admit it. They will never do that. They will dig their heels in ever harder. And I've said this many times, it's losing face and losing hope. They have been given hope by taking on board a series of lies that have been made about Brexit and about what the Tory party is going to do. I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that, they said. And people thought, oh, yeah, right enough. OK, well, we'll sign up for that. And then they didn't do any of the above. They lied about absolutely everything. And so to admit that you voted for something while vigorously defending it all the while, oh, I know what I voted for, to admit that you've been had would be to lose face. But crucially, it would be also to lose hope. And that's pretty much what people have left now, hope. It don't cost nothing, and it can keep you going. So to lose that means that you will have lost everything. So there will be an enormous resistance to admit both of those things, Rob. The government won't have to convince you, because people will convince themselves.
Oh, it's a sad state of affairs.
It's a sad, sad situation.
Rock and roll!
And it's getting more and more absurd, yeah.
And it just mirrors what's going on in Trump land, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. Well, we got baby Trump over here. Yeah. All right, thanks a lot, Rob. 0345 6060 973. Trish text, Nick, you had to watch past the credits in Don't Look Up to see Meryl Streep's character getting eaten by dinosaur-like creatures. What? Don't tell us.
Warning, warning.
Yvonne texts, I'm 73. These are the most dire times I've ever known. What's happening to our beautiful country? Johnson, you will never be forgiven for what you have done. Oh, leave him alone, Yvonne. He's doing his best.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott.
You've got a good, your mind is a little bit, you know what I mean, three-dimensional.
No, I do not know what you mean. Hippie. Tim in Wisborough Green says, Nick, simple question. Where did you first source the thank you sound effect? My wife Zoe has started mimicking it in a sarcastic fashion when I fail to do something. Wow. Well, that'll teach you, Tim. Stop failing to do things. You know what? I can't remember where I got this.
Thank you.
But I do know that when I go down to Brighton, I go on my holiday, a couple of days a year, I'll just take a trip to Brighton for the day. That's my holiday. And I walk into the amusement arcade on Brighton Pier, and that's the sound that greets me. There's some machine there that every time you put some money in, this is what it says.
Thank you.
It's really bizarre to hear a thing from my own show when I'm on holiday in Brighton. It makes me feel I'm at work. But I can't remember where I got it. DJ, hey, DJ! He says, Nick, where do raccoons fit on your list? What list? Presumably this is a text and email from last night. Where did the ones from tonight start? Because I'm still getting through last night. Where do the ones from last night, from tonight start?
Coming to it now for you.
Where are they?
Here.
Here? Where's here?
Rob texts.
Rob.
Down on page
5. 5. OK, so I've only got 5 pages to go before I get to the ones from tonight.
Yeah.
God. I'm never going to do it, am I? Why do these people keep texting me? Why can't you just leave me alone? Gwent. Hello, Patrick.
Hey, Nick. How are you, mate?
Good, thanks.
Hey, I was ringing to say, right, a friend of mine was here last night, and he was listening to you about what did you say it was? 1.something billion a day they're taking in?
Oh, the petrostates and petrol companies make £2.3 billion in pure profit. That's not gross profit. That's clean money every day. 2.3 billion every day.
Well, I thought it was 1 point. So then you said, how much did you just say? 2 point what?
I think it's 2.3.
Right. Well, anyway, let me just quickly tell you, right? A friend of mine, he comes here out now and again, and when he's here, I've always got LBC on anyway. And he said, what if everybody just didn't pay the bill? And I said, well, you might not pay it, but how can you get everybody not to pay it?
Yeah.
So he suggests, I phone you, we start a rebellion. Are you up for it? No.
What are you? Well, let me ask you this, Sir Patrick. What are you rebelling against?
Well, against the putting all the prices up on us and all this cost of living and so on.
That's close, but the right answer is, what have you got? Marlon Brando. Yeah, I know. I've read that same thought on the internet, and I seriously doubt it will happen because people will be, well, you first. No,
Exactly.
You first. Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Look, but if you start it, right, I'll follow you, and so will he. And then they'll have all the country behind you, look. So put it out on the LBC, and we'll see where we go.
Right. I could do this show remotely from prison. Yeah, good idea, Patrick.
Okay, right. Thank you very much, anyway.
Right.
Hey.
No, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. 0345 6060 973. You know what? I'm going to have to skip the ones from last night and just start on the ones from tonight, because otherwise, I do apologise if I didn't get to your one from last night, but this is ridiculous. So where do they start? Rob says. Where's Rob? Oh, Rob Tech. Is that Rob Tech's Nick?
Tom tweets.
Tom tweets, right. Lord Bamford of JCB, which Johnson is, of course, happy to lie in front of, is hosting the party at his place. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Very upset that Bodge lied about that lying in front of a digger thing. You lied about that, Bodge.
Yeah. Where
and also the being dead in a ditch thing, too. When will you ever tell the truth? Spoiler alert to his current wife. When he says, till death us do part...
Warning!
Ain't necessarily so. Catherine says, Lord and Lady Bamford of JCB at Dalesford in Oxfordshire, hosting and funding that person's wedding bash, according to the Telegraph. Her Majesty's Daily Telegraph. I like the cartoon on the front page and the crossword on the back. It's what's in the middle what concerns me. Michelle says, this evening on TV, I watched one of those Top of the Pops programmes from 1978. Did you know that you bear an uncanny resemblance to the lead singer of punk rock band Sham 69? What, I can't believe I can't remember his name. It's just gone right out of my head. Sham 69. When the kids are united.
Rock and roll!
Jimmy Percy. Jimmy Percy is the correct answer. Anyway, I bear an uncanny resemblance to Jimmy Percy out of Sham 69, who was singing brackets or shouting a song entitled "Angels with Dirty Faces." Are you flattered, impressed, horrified, or just outright disappointed? I'm flattered, Michelle. He was a good-looking bloke, wasn't he? I appreciate it. Let's have Woolwich. Hello, Richard.
Oh, from Woolwich. Hello. Yes, I'm here.
Richard.
Hi, Nick. Nick.
Yes, Richard.
I had to go to London tonight, so but the point I'm making is it was actually really busy.
Yeah.
It was heaving.
Heaving, yeah, I know. It's kind of alarming being in a crowd of people now, isn't it? I mean, I got used to having a bit of space around me during the mad bat disease. And to be in a crowd of like heaving people all hugger-mugger, it's a bit... I haven't got used to it yet.
But I think it links to what you were saying earlier, which and your points you've been making are terrific, and your callers as well, which is about... I'm not sensing any anger about the train strike.
No.
I mean, there's a train strike today, but people are making it in. They've got this kind of almost like this blitz spirit. I've been talking to a few people about it en route. As I said, I cycled in, and we were a few bars after my concert, and it was like everyone was saying, "No, it's fine, it is good," and well, not good, but it's not something they were complaining about.
Right.
And I kind of link that to what you're saying, which is this kind of narrative that the Tories are putting out, that somehow it's Labour.
Oh, the Labour strikes.
You can link it all back to the Labour strikes.
Right.
I don't think people are buying it.
Like everything's still Jeremy Corbyn's fault. Thanks a lot, Jeremy Corbyn.
Boo!
You see what you've done?
Yeah, but that's the thing, is they're not buying it. And,
No.
and I've got a lot of optimism about that for me tonight.
Yeah.
In the sense that it's almost like they played all the states for Brexit. And now all of this kind of rubbish that they're doing around trying to blame others and put... It's just not washing, in my view.
No, and these are tricks that they always play. They always have done. And the country has gone along with that. You know, these are enemies of the people. They're Marxists, socialists. They're trying to bring our country down. Why don't they love our country? All of that nonsense. And people are like nodding, yeah, that's right. I was late in for work this morning, so these blooming militant unions... And people always bought that. This time around, it's not working. Just like Boris Johnson's act isn't working anymore. They're running out of material. And I think that it's going to create confusion in their brains, because this stuff usually works for them. And so they're not going to change tack because they haven't got any tack to change to. So they're just going to double down. They're going to shout louder. They're going to be more incensed about statues and plaques and telling the truth about history and all of that stuff.
Exactly, and that's why Fishbot, and I love that Lizbot and Fishbot, that's why Fishbot has got this one wrong with the woke wars.
Yeah.
Maybe that plays to the old
harumphing old geezers that he actually needs immediately, but it doesn't play well to the country. Yeah.
No, the country's had enough. I get this sense. I got it for the first time tonight, and I linked it to the points that you've been making for a number of weeks now.
And I think that one of, if not the main reason behind this, is a bloke called Mick Lynch, who has been painted as, like I said, enemy of the people. He's a Marxist, socialist, and all this trite stuff they just trot out without even thinking about it. It's just slogans now, just catchphrases. And that usually works. But Mick Lynch has taken apart every single person he's sat across a desk from on TV and radio, and people are thinking, oh, well, you know what, I agree with absolutely everything that bloke just said.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. And my final word to, was it Robbie, who was the Brexit guy who said he voted Brexit, he was sorry? Sorry, Robbie, if you're still listening, I do not accept your apology.
What if he said it, if he said it a lot?
I am very sorry that I screwed up. Totally I mean, I am so sorry. You just don't know how sorry I am. I am sorry.
What if he said that?
No, doesn't wash for me.
Still no. It's a no from you.
No, 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 no.
All right. Thanks a lot, Richard. Oh, my God. Look at the time. Oh, no. I am very bad at my job. Wow, I don't think I've ever done that before. Look at the time. Good grief. It's his fault. That last bloke took my eye off the clock. It weren't me. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbot, LBC.
This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbott.
Hello, number please. Trying to connect you. Sorry to keep you waiting.
Yes, Brendan in Belfast. I am sorry to keep you waiting.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Oh, I thought you meant you're sorry to keep me waiting, and I had to continue waiting. No.
I can put you back on hold if you prefer.
No. That was a very confusing statement you just
Very,
made.
very confusing, and I apologise.
Yes, your apologies accepted. I can't believe your female caller earlier on, I don't know who she was, that mistrust. I can't believe I didn't think of that.
I am stunned. I am very, very upset with myself. I'm not angry. I'm just upset. Mistrust.
Yeah, that should have been mine, and yet I didn't think of it. So anyway, but that's not why I rang. I rang to talk about music and albums and stuff, and I think it's pretty pointless to say what's the best album or the best song or what was the best.
It's what's
year.
your favourite. There's no best about it.
Yeah, it's purely subjective, you know. But it's not really a but I'm just my favourite, and it's not it may not be the best musical album, it may not be the best produced, it may not, but for me, it is the best album ever made.
You're going to say, wait a minute, don't tell me. You're going to say a Rory Gallagher.
No.
No. You're going to say Thin Lizzy.
No. See, you think because I'm Irish,
yes,
I'm going to pick all.
Yeah, exactly.
How dare you?
Racist behaviour.
You're stereotyping me. No.
Go on.
I would say Parallel Lanes by Blondie, 1978.
Wow. Well, that's a very interesting choice.
Yeah.
Fade Away and Radiate. Groovy. One of my favourite Blondie tracks.
Loved it. And I've been fortunate enough to see Blondie a few times. And I'll also say that even though it was a friend of mine, a mate, as we would call them in them days, I was a teenager way back in 78, and my mate had got the keys of his sister's house because they were away to Spain, and we had a party in the house. It was only supposed to last for a day, but it went on for 8 days, And the only album we played, because it was all we had, was Parallel Lines. And we never got fed up listening to it. It was, so for me, it's beautiful. And I'd also say that the best comeback single of all time, in my opinion, and I'm not arguing with anybody, people can have their own opinions, is Maria, also by Blondie.
Huh.
You know,
I think you're obsessed.
No, I'm not. These things happen.
I must have been thinking
years
about somebody else.
I don't know what you're thinking about. And here's the other thing now. Like, moving swiftly along, I don't believe for one second that you were wearing marigolds.
No, I absolutely was. And you cannot believe how much your hands sweat when you wear them for 3 hours. I just didn't want to touch anything. Because that's the problem with being in a studio. You can't really clean a studio because all this equipment costs an absolute bomb. And it doesn't really work well with water or having anything sprayed on it. So I was protecting myself.
Yes. Well, then, how did your touch-sensitive screens to play your voices work?
I have a little a stylus. It's like a pencil with a little rubber thing on the end. That's what I use.
Is that what you call it?
Yeah.
But a stylus?
Well, it's like a pencil with a rubber thing on the end.
Here's the other thing.
Yeah.
I miss lockdown.
Well,
am I the only one?
Now,
in the world?
which part of lockdown do you miss?
People being kept in their homes.
Now, do you mean that there's an absence of crowds? Is that what you mean?
I mean, an absence of people.
Yeah.
I just see when I go out now, there's people everywhere.
Everywhere, I know. Awful.
And they're coughing,
yeah,
sneezing,
exactly.
spluttering, littering. I went into a shop today and there was maybe 50, 60 people and not one was wearing a mask.
No.
And I said to myself, why don't they lock these people up? Why are these people out?
Yeah, where is a police person when you need them the most? Yeah.
Yeah, it was the most advanced and positive contribution ever made to society to tell people to stay in the house.
Stay indoors, yeah.
I wish I could invent a new virus.
Well, I don't think you'll have to wait very long, Brendan. I'm sure another one will be around the corner any moment now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could I say one more thing?
One more thing, yes.
It's really great to talk to you.
And in closing, go ahead.
Okay. And in closing, Liz Truss and Rishi Sunak, right? They don't have a single vote here in Northern Ireland, right? So we are not allowed to vote for them.
Right.
And yet it's paradoxical that Liz Truss is going to win this. And the reason she's going to win this is because she has the backing of the ERG, who want to fight for Europe. Rishi Sunak is about money. He has no concept of politics. He's a financial guy.
Yeah.
But she is going to destroy the Northern Ireland Protocol, which will inflame Europe. And
well, that's the plan. I think continually having a battle with Europe is the plan.
Yeah.
They never want to fix it. Brexit will never be done. That's the whole plan. That's going to be their offering to the public next time around, this continual fight against the French.
Yeah. Well, that's why Liz Truss is going to win.
Yeah.
Because she is saying, and she said it up front, she's saying the protocol must go.
Yeah.
An international agreement that was signed by two nations, it recognises an international agreement, and she's saying, well, we don't really like it anymore.
No, but they never liked it in the first place, which is curious because they won the last election selling us that deal as the greatest deal that anybody had ever heard of in the history of deal making.
They insisted on the protocol. The protocol wasn't a European idea.
Well,
it was a British idea.
They insisted on all of it. All of it is down to them insisting that things are as they are, which they said to us is a tremendous deal for this country. And now apparently it's so bad that they're going to have to break international law to get out of it. Yeah, Brendan, I've got to
Okay,
go,
mate.
but keep in mind
Thank
that
you.
I am in the phone booth. It's the one across the hall. If you don't
Thanks very
answer,
much.
I'll just ring it off the wall. All right. Thanks a lot, mate. 0345 6060 973. Martin emails, Dear World Heating Nick, World Heating. When Liz is PM, she'll be Her Tragedy. Her Tragedy, the most Margaret Elizabeth. Her Tragedy, the most Margaret Elizabeth Blunder Truss. The Blunder Truss. There's another one. How come I haven't thought of that one? Mistrust and Blunder Truss. I'm going to write that down. The Blunder Truss. That's so obvious. Why haven't I thought of that before? That is awful.
That is a disgrace.
It's a disgrace. Anyway, there's more. When Liz is PM, she'll be Her Tragedy, the most Margaret Elizabeth Blunder Truss. Not forgetting her end bit bot. Have I left anything out? Says from Shrivelling Up Martin. Have you left anything out? I've got no idea what you're talking about. So hard to tell, really. But thanks for the input there. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Let's have Windsor. Simon.
Oh.
Yes, Simon.
Yeah, about Keir Starmer, that's why he sit on the fence.
What?
Keir Starmer.
Keir Starmer.
He can't say anything.
Right.
Because he's among them.
He's among them?
Yes.
Among who?
Among the Conservatives. He's just been put there to stop up everything our Labour parties believe.
So Keir Starmer is an undercover Conservative operative.
He's a stooge.
Well, that's an interesting thought there, Simon. It's probably not the first time someone has thought of that, but
No, he's a stooge because he can't say the policy because he doesn't have any.
Right. Well, I'm not entirely sure that he doesn't have any policies. He might not have the policies that you agree with.
He's a stooge.
A stooge.
So he doesn't have to say anything.
Right.
So
well,
he's
at the moment,
to keep a lead on the Labour Party, not to say anything better.
yeah, but at the moment he doesn't really have to say anything. The Tory party are doing a pretty good job of destroying themselves. All he has to do is sit back and watch them do it. Unfortunately, the Labour Party are the world beaters in destroying themselves, so I wouldn't expect them to win next time around.
Even if there is no election, I don't think Conservative will win election in England.
You don't think the Conservatives will win the next election?
It will never be one.
Oh, you don't think they're going to have another election?
They won't reach because the country is going to be on a revolution like in French Revolution. Because now they don't think about anything else except to destroy the country completely.
I would not actually be surprised if they did find some sort of Trumpian way to ban the next election because of, I don't know, like a worldwide emergency, or there's another pandemic, or the war in the Ukraine spreads.
This is where is it coming from? Because they can't help the people in England, taxpayers people,
yes,
but they take the money to Ukraine.
Right, I've got a couple of words
to buy
there.
Ammunition, to do everything.
To buy ammunition, yeah.
And what do you think about Putin?
What do I think about him? About rootin' tootin'? I think
Mr. Putin.
I think that the world would be a better place without him.
But I think he is a common. I think they want same bed.
What?
They share same bed.
What?
Why the price of food is going up? Because of Ukraine. I never heard about Ukraine was feeding the world.
Yeah,
before,
well, we've learned.
But now Ukraine is feeding the world.
Well, not anymore. Not anymore, it ain't. Not feeding the world anymore, no.
So the price goes up every time, every minute?
The price of grain is going up every minute. Yeah, that's probably true.
Yeah, but crude oil, he hasn't gone up that far. Why the petrol is going up?
Well, these are all very, very good questions, Simon. Can you pop them on an email?
Email, you got emails?
Yeah. Just write an email on a piece of paper, put my name on it, and if you just hand it to your post person, then it'll probably get to me eventually. All right.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah. Okay. No, thank you. Another satisfied customer. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's @LBC.
This is LBC. This is LBC with Nick Abbott.
Don't touch me, or I'll kill you.
Shab's emails. I partially watched a film earlier. I had to stop. It was like watching Biden's twin. It was Clint Eastwood, like he's 100 years old. I want to remember Clint the way he was, so I had to switch it off. Joe Biden does look like he is made out of parchment paper, doesn't he? Like you wouldn't want to, you wouldn't want to stand near a naked flame. He looks like he would just go up. East Yorkshire, hello, Mike.
Hi, Nick. Yeah, don't normally do music with you, but just if I can throw a couple of things past you. Five Bridges by the Nice, Great Gates of Kiev by ELP, and Yes Songs.
The Great Gates of Kiev by ELP.
Yeah, it's Mussorgsky interpreted by a rock band.
I never even heard of it. I mean, I've heard of Trilogy and Tarkus and ELP. Do they have an album called ELP?
Emerson, Lake and Palmer, yeah.
Yeah, I think, well, that was the first one, right? Something like that. And some of that is noodling to the extreme.
Boring!
And other tracks are just absolutely fan-bloomintastic.
Mm-hmm. Yes Songs, what did you make of that?
Yes Songs. What was on that one?
Well, it was a double album by Yes, basically, with Rick Wakeman on keyboards.
Yeah. I can't recall which particular track. I mean, I'm a sort of a late adopter of Yes, but I did buy all of their albums on high definition. Have you discovered high definition music?
Groovy.
Not CDs, because they're rubbish, man, compared to what high definition music sounds like. Have you tried HD?
No, I'm not.
Oh, well, there's a whole world of music there waiting for you, Mike.
Vinyl.
Yeah, well, vinyl ain't no HD. I mean, I know people are very, very attached to vinyl because it's probably because it's just the product. I mean, just the handling of it and the, sniff it, smell it, touch it, stroke it. You can't do that with a digital download.
No, not at all. But anyway, moving on. Fishy, you'll be aware that he's building a swimming pool, which they say will cost $12,000 a year to heat. But were you aware that the public baths local to Fishy are having to close because of energy price increases? So the ones the plebs go to where you get verrucas and things, they're closing. Right. But he's got his own, and I thought that's pretty much what's happening to this country, isn't it? Public
exactly.
Shopping.
Yes.
And the rich are just building their own.
The rich are getting stratospherically richer, and everybody else is getting very much poorer. Perhaps the two are in some way connected.
It could be. And my other thought was this anti-work stuff that they're trying to outdo each other with.
Are you saying woke?
Yeah, the anti-work stuff where they're coming out against work. Rishi's going to stop work and
it sounds like you're saying work. I mean, I know you. You're saying woke. I think a lot of people would prefer Rishi to stop working, but you mean woking.
It's my Yorkshire accent.
Yes.
But it struck me that this is actually quite sinister and dangerous because the country's going to go through hell over the next year with energy prices, fuel prices, food prices, and everything else, which sort of foments social problems, and then firing up this anti-work stuff is only going to make it worse. It's quite irresponsible. I know that it's only politics to them trying to get elected, but it's actually quite a dangerous thing to do, to fire up bits of the population against other bits of the population.
Yes, in ordinary circumstances, and it has worked for them up to this point, which is what we've been talking about on the last couple of shows. But I get the feeling that people don't buy that anymore. We've heard it over and over again, and we're a bit tired of it now. Just like we're tired of Boris Johnson's act. That's not working anymore either. So I don't think that their little scheme to have us fighting amongst each other is going to pay off, because it definitely is us and them. And up to this point, it's been the right of the public versus the left of the public, and the right of centre and the left of centre, and so on and so on. We divide ourselves up into these little groups. But I think that now the public are thinking, well, you know what, to hell with this. It is us and them. It's us, all of us, against them in the Palace of Westminster.
I'm hoping that actually comes true.
Well, just think about Mick Lynch. I mean, he is the one that really is the sort of bellwether. He is being painted just as they always do. He's a militant, Marxist, leftist, socialist, enemy of the people, all of that. And the response is not as usual. Usually the response is people going, yeah, that's right, these blooming Marxist, Leninist, etc. and so on. And why can't they just get back to work, and they should take what they're given? And that's not the response this time around. The response is, yeah, good on you, Mick Lynch. People walking around with his face on their T-shirts, which is a little alarming. I mean, no offence, Mick, but there are more beautiful faces on Earth. That's not a controversial thing to say, is it?
Not at all, no. And similarly, I think the thing that backs up what you're saying is people are distrustful of Sunak, because they're saying, how can he know what people are feeling? And he's got all this money, and people are saying, well, you know, why would we want to appoint you when you've no idea what we're going through? And that hopefully is the trend, the way it goes.
Plus, he up to this point has been more popular than the Lizbot with the public, not with their immediate audience, which is what they're going for, the harumphing old geezers that prop up the bar at the golf club, which is who they're trying to get their votes from. The general public prefer Rishi Sunak because he seems nicer. He doesn't seem like this Margaret Thatcher wannabe. He seems less evil of the two. It's more soft focus. Seems, if you had to choose between one or the other to babysit your dog, you'd choose Fishy Sunak, right? Because if you gave it to the Lizbot, the dog lead would still be there, but the dog would be mysteriously missing, and she would have made you a hamburger by the time you get back. But now he's joined in this woke war nonsense. I think people are thinking, well, hang on a minute, who are you?
Yeah, just rich and out of touch.
Yeah. All right. Thanks a lot, Mike. 0345 6060 973. Yeah. I can't believe it. I mean, I read this, the news came in to me fresh when I was on the air last night, and I was just stunned that that's what he's doing now. That he is so pathetically desperate to become the next Prime Minister of this country that he's now engaging in this war on woke, about which, correct me if I'm wrong, he has said not one single syllable up to this point. But now he's behind. Oh, now he's suddenly all on board with, statues and let's not diss slave traders and plaques and unisex toilets and all of this stuff. Oh, for crying out loud, really? Is that what you got? Is that how you think you're going to win? By being more Liz Truss than Liz Truss? And it's not him, is it? I mean, as much as we know him at all, he's this soft focus, pastel cashmere wearing, Prada shod metropolitan. He's not this foaming woke warrior. Who does he think he's kidding? That's what they're going to have to go through in order to get the top job. This sort of race to the bottom. Oh, no, I can be more evil than you. And so people are thinking, well, I don't recognise who this person is anymore. So none of the above. Thanks very much. I mean, if the left wing, or the left of centre, or the centre and the left wing, because it's not just the left wing, it's the majority of the people in this country have not voted for the Conservative Party almost every single election since the Second World War, and yet the Tories keep winning again and again and again and again. It's because those who are not on the right split their vote among various parties, and the left wing always seem to manage to fight each other to the ground They just wrestle each other in a battle of purity, and they lose again. It's like they fashion a loss from success every time. And they're doing it again right now, as I speak. At this moment, the Labour Party are... it's almost like they don't like the spotlight being on the Tories fighting with each other. So they say, oh, no, hang on a minute, we can punch each other harder than they can. Look at us. We're much more a chaotic clown show than the Tories. I do get the feeling that they like to lose. It's this masochistic streak. Thank you, sir. May I have another? And they're just going to have to get over this purity nonsense. I mean, people actually say, I would rather not vote for Labour. I'm a lifelong Labour supporter, but I'd rather vote for the Tories than have the Keir Starmer get in. Morons. We're surrounded by morons. Pick one. Select. Not voting is the stupidest thing you can do. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, it's at LBC. Oh, look at the time. It's 12:30 on LBC. The news headlines with Serena Farrow.
Leading Britain's conversation. LBC with Nick Abbott.
Do you mind if I say a few words? Thank you.
Dan texts, what do you do with all the texts and the emails that you do not get to on a Saturday? Do you take them home and read them in the bath? Are you in the bath right now? No, I am not. What I do with them is I throw them away. Because that's the nature of how evil I am. That was a very badly constructed sentence, but never mind. It's out there now. David emails, am extraordinarily old, but that's how it starts. Am extraordinarily old, but still live in hope of dying under the auspices of a firmly entrenched socialist state. But predict that even as you mock these Tory buffoons, there are underlying competencies that are oiling their ancient machinations of Tory business expertise to roar back into favour. Any of this make sense yet?
No.
Shall I read some more?
No.
Okay, then. All right, then. Margaret says, hi, Nick, just read in the Telegraph that Bodge is having a bash for his delayed wedding party. Guests will be sitting on hay bales, catering his street food cooked on an open fire. As everywhere is tinder dry, do you think Bodge has one of his water cannons on standby? What, the Waffen Squirter 9000? That does seem like a pretty stupid choice. But, it's like exactly as I would have expected, Bodge.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Dale says, I have a friend who voted leave because he thought that it meant leave things as they are. Yeah, right. Lucy says, do you think Liz Truss turned up to Bojo and Carrie's wedding wearing her £4.50 earrings from Claire's Accessories? Says Mary. I mean, really. Here's the Sunak culture war story. Fishy Sunak is going to seek to revive his flagging bid for the premiership by wading into a series of culture war issues, vowing to stop what he calls left-wing agitators from bulldozing British values.
Oh, fabulous.
Are you kidding me? We're back to Can We Sing Land of Hope and Glory at the Proms again, aren't we? Don't these people know there's a war on?
No.
There's one war already on. Another one about to start in Taiwan. People will be starving and freezing to death this winter when it used to be a choice between one or the other. If people need the police, they're asked to leave a message. If they need an ambulance, they're fresh out of luck and don't even think about getting a dental appointment or a mental appointment. And what this desperate-to-be-loved, eager little puppy is concentrating on is gender-neutral loos and protecting statues of slave traders. Hello? Nation calling Rishi. Is there anybody in there? With Liz Truss, the firm favourite, ahead of a critical few days in the leadership contest, and ballot papers set to be received by Conservative Party members from Monday, Sunak will give a speech attacking woke nonsense. Great. Now we know what the Tories are really interested in. Nothing other than clinging on to or consolidating power. I mean, if anybody thinks that the next general election is going to be fought fair and square, and that a few billionaires will not bombard social media with trillions of ads spouting lies about the opposition and will do absolutely anything in their considerable power to cheat a win, then I've got one of Boris Johnson's bridges I'd like to sell you. Did you get any of those bridges built, Bodge? No. While the former Chancellor, Fishy Sunak, came first in a vote of Tory MPs, the Lisbot has consistently led in a party members' poll and won the endorsement of former favourite Ben Wallace on Thursday, and her former leadership rival Tom Tugendhat on Friday. Tom Tugendhat is apparently popular among the Tory party members and a senior figure in the One Nation group of centrist Tory MPs. One Nation. It sounds like an oxymoron, doesn't it? It sounds like a contradiction in terms. Centrist Tory MPs. Like cheap petrol stations. Like decent serial killers. Tom Tugendhat praised the Lisbot's plans for tax cuts, saying they were founded on true conservative principles. Yeah, that's right. Favouring the rich over the interests of anyone else. Hey, Tories, stop saying the quiet part out loud. You're making this job too easy. And Fishy Sunak's taken up a series of increasingly hardline positions in a bid to close the gap with his rival. He said, what's the point in stopping the bulldozers in the Greenbelt if we allow left-wing agitators to take a bulldozer to our history, our traditions and our fundamental values? He said, whether it's pulling down statues of historic figures, replacing the school curriculum with anti-British propaganda, or rewriting the English language so we can't even use words like man, woman or mother without being told we're offending someone. Like who? Who says that, other than the unhinged wing of the right-wing press? Who says that? It's just not convincing, is it? I mean, he's had plenty of opportunity to join this phony nonsense up to this point, but only now that he's losing is he actually signing up to it. I mean, seriously. He said, what's the point in stopping the bulldozers in the Greenbelt if we allow left-wing agitators to take a bulldozer to our history, our traditions and our fundamental values? What's he talking about? Does he even know? What's the one got to do with the other? I mean, apart from anything else, explaining our history isn't taking a bulldozer to it. If you can't stand the truth about what happened in the past, then maybe it's what happened in the past that's the problem, not the telling of it. And what traditions is he most concerned are being obliterated? The right to protest? The right to withdraw your labour? The right to vote without a photo ID? The right to receive justice? The right to be governed by a party that's interested in the plight of the people over the profits of its donors? I mean, which particular rights is he concerned that he's losing because of these woke lefty activists? The right to have a statue of someone we've actually heard of in our town squares that didn't kill thousands of black people just because they weren't worth very much on the open market. I mean, what is it that you're most exercised about, Fishy? And he's also joined the Up is Down brigade, telling you one thing while doing the opposite. While lighting the touch paper on his own personal mission to rid us of wokeness, he also said, we have zero interest in fighting a so-called culture war.
What?
So, I mean, it's also what would Donald Trump do?
Donald Trump is not a nice person.
And of course he's promised to export more foreigners. Of course he has. The Lisbot says she'll ramp up the Rwanda deportations from the current figure of 0. So Fishy says, well, I see your increase and I'll raise you. And so Liz will say, well, I'll get a fleet of planes taken off every day with thousands of the most desperate and send them to somewhere that only months ago the government said was not safe. And so Fishy will say, well, you know those scoops that planes fighting forest fires used to pick up tons of water from the sea? I'll use those on the high streets of the land. Catch thousands of people and send them where they don't want to go. And Liz will say, Right, I'm going to employ those alien spaceships from War of the Worlds and blast millions of foreigners to dust and then put the rest through a mincing machine and spray the remains over the land as fertiliser. Beat that. I mean, does any of that get your vote? Centrist Tory members? Not mean enough? 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Let's have Vancouver. Hello, Nick.
Oh, hi, Nick. Incidentally, pictures of the Great Gates of Kiev was from pictures of an exhibition by Emerson, Lake and Palmer.
Yes.
Which I was thinking was probably their most famous album, but maybe I was wrong.
Trilogy, I think. Trilogy.
I always liked the Brain Salad Surgery for the cover-up, but I
know.
It's
it was H.R. Geiger, wasn't it?
Yes, yes.
It wasn't really a gatefold sleeve. It was what would you call it?
Trifold, I think. It sort of opened up in the middle. And
in the middle,
there was like a hole in the middle that stayed out. Like I said, I hated Emerson, Lake and Palmer. My very first girlfriend, shout out to Sue Jones of Love Lane Mitcham,
Hello,
back
Sue.
in 1976 or whatever it was a huge Emerson, Lake and Palmer, Genesis, and Rush fan.
I hated all that
stuff. I was
stuff.
the Damned to the MC5.
Right,
so
me
it was a
too,
constant
yeah.
battle.
Right, no, I when I was a kid, I hated ELP and Genesis and Yes and all of that, and I've come to like them the older I've got, and I actually really appreciate all that stuff now.
Not so much myself, although I have learned to appreciate Procol Harum. I do really like Procol Harum, and I sort of see them as the first of the prog rock bands in a sense.
The band Rush, which you just mentioned, they still rub my fur up the wrong way. Can't live with Rush in the same room. No.
I would agree with you, but I would be taken out and beaten to death if I said that aloud in Canada.
In Canada, big mistake. Huge.
And they are very pleasant human beings as well, which
sure
makes
they
them
are.
even more beloved. But what I was bringing up about was to bring up your point of the usual Tory trick of attempting to blame the unions isn't working, and I think the reason for that is because we're, in the UK, obviously, with gas prices going up like 4,000%, but if you have to pay 4,000 quid a year for like a 2-bedroom semi, which is sort of your average house, and if you've got insurance, if you've got inflation taken up and mortgage rates going up and what have you, even if you're relatively well off, even if you're upper middle class, you're feeling the pinch this year.
Big time.
Because if you're a doctor or a lawyer and you have like a really nice 5-bedroom house, the cost of heating that's going to be about 16,000 quid a year.
Huge.
And people notice that no matter how much money they have.
That's right.
And I think people are looking at the train drivers, even rich people are looking at the train drivers going, yeah, I get that. I kind of like them to get a pay rise because maybe I'd get one.
Quite. Yeah, that's exactly right.
And I don't think the Tories are realising that everyone's scared now. Everyone.
No. It's kind of come as a big surprise. You can almost see the confusion in their eyes, that the trite slogans that they just trot out aren't working for them anymore. And so they think, oh, okay, well, you didn't like that. How about I double down? And no, we're kind of turning away from them. It's like Boris Johnson's act isn't working anymore. He used to be that lovable, funny scamp off the telly, and now people are just turned off and kind of repulsed by him, everything about him, apart from the 30% that have joined a cult, the Boris Johnson cult. And the Mick Lynch thing, that's, to me, the telling point. People aren't turned off by Mick Lynch. They're not buying this militant, he hates our country, if you don't like it, why don't you go and leave and go to another country? There's very few of that about. People think, yeah, that's right. Good on you, Mick Lynch.
Yeah, people are frightened. Fear changes politics. It really does.
Right.
You go back to Thatcher's time, you could blame the unions because half of the UK was doing okay.
Yeah.
And so you just got that half to blame the other half.
Right.
That's not the case now.
No, you're quite right.
2/3 of the UK are scared witless right now.
Yep. And there's a real sense that we've been had, I think.
Yes, because even if you were a Brexit supporter, even Brian from up north is going, I thought this was supposed to get better.
Yeah.
And it's not better. It's so bad that I'm actually worried that I might freeze to death this Christmas.
It's so bad that we can't actually think of any positive from leaving the European Union. Even Smug can't think of anything.
I don't know anything.
He's outsourced his job to come up with some Brexit benefits to the public, and they don't know anything.
Yeah, and like I said, I mean, I occasionally engage with the Brexiteers on the Daily Express, and 6 months ago or a year ago, their thing was, well, it hasn't, the good stuff hasn't happened yet, and look, it hasn't made anything worse. And now they can't say that anymore.
No,
things
that's
are
right.
definitely worse now.
Much worse,
And you can't blame it on Brexit, but Brexit isn't saving you from it either.
Yeah.
And it was supposed to be the answer to everything.
Yeah, and the only thing that the Labour Party have to do in order to acquire power and perhaps hold on to it for a long, long time is to stop fighting with itself, and they won't do it. Idiots. Nick, I've got to go, but thanks for that. 0345 6060 973. Nick Abbot, LBC.
Coming up at 1 on LBC, Clive Bull.
A poll just published says the majority in Britain think the next Prime Minister should go to the country and seek a new mandate. Do you think there should be a snap general election?
Clive Bull on LBC. This is LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Tweet at LBC. Text 84850.
Come on, we're running late.
0345 6060 973. Kate texts, Liz wanting to stop wolf whistling has really upset me. I am 54 years old and I haven't been wolf whistled at yet, says Kate. Can you wolf whistle at me, please, and then I won't feel like I have missed out? Certainly, Kate. That is easy. All you have to do is put your lips together and blow. Well, close. I'll work on it. Camden. Hello, Lawrence.
Hi, how are you?
Good, thanks.
Yeah, man. For me, 1956, Elvis's first album. That's probably the best and most influential album that ever happened. I mean, it was, because before him, who was there?
Is that the album that's got it's an iconic cover? It really is an absolutely fantastic cover. It's him in like mid-twist, and it's got Elvis down one side and Presley down the other in different colours. Like I think it's green and pink or something like that.
Exactly. Now, before that record, I mean, look, the thing is about Elvis, whether you like him or not. Now, I don't know if you've seen the new Elvis movie, but if you haven't, go and see it, man. I tell you what, man, that guy was brilliant. And I'm the biggest critic of anybody that tries to act like Elvis, but he was brilliant. And that album basically was just this young, redneck doing his thing, and, they didn't know whether he was black, white, or red, pink, or whatever he was. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And everybody after him knew exactly what they wanted to be. They wanted to be a rock star. He was the first rock star. Now, don't forget.
Well, he was the first. He was the most successful. He was the first successful rock star.
Hang on, Nick. The fact is, he was the first.
He was the first white guy. I mean, he was just doing the black artist's music.
And he took all of that black stuff. He took all that white stuff. He put it together and just said, "Let's do this thing. Let's do something together." But I'm telling you, he was the first rock star.
Well, anyway, what about Little Richard? What about Chuck Berry? If you like Hound Dog, what about Big Mama Willie Mae Thornton, whose version I prefer?
This is what. Okay, but these are the versions I prefer too. But let's get it straight. He was the first one that broke. He was like
Lawrence, I tell you what you're trying to say. He was the first one that made it acceptable to like black music for a white crowd. That's what happened. That in segregated America, not so much here, where there wasn't such a strong dividing line, but in America, white people didn't. It wasn't acceptable really for them to listen to black music, but they could listen to black music if it was sung by a white guy, and that's where Elvis came in.
Exactly, but that changed history, man.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I don't know why you're telling... I know that. I know, Lawrence. All right, thanks very much. 0345 6060 973. Let's have Birmingham. Hello, Drew.
Hello, Nick. Good morning.
Yes, sir.
Just a quickie. When you mentioned HD tracks, I think it was, my ears pricked up because I've got Wish You Were Here and Dark Side of the Moon on SACD in 5.1 surround mix.
5.1 surround sound, baby.
Groovy. Yeah, it's really far out, man. But seriously, they both sound absolutely top banana. I can recommend it to anyone.
If you haven't heard music in high def, then you're really kind of missing out. Neil Young was going on about this, wasn't he? Because I think he started... Is Tidal and the Neil Young thing, or he started a streaming service of high-definition music because he kept going on about, people aren't listening to music in the right way. You're not hearing it all. And he was absolutely right. When you listen to something in high def, it really is transformative.
If I get enough money one day, I want to get some headphones that are surround, as well as instead of stereo.
Well, I don't know about surround. I'm not sure that that's actually a great step forward. Is it?
I think so. That's what these two albums are.
Well, yeah, but it wasn't artificially remixed to have effects coming at you from around. Like if you got four speakers around you and a subwoofer, then I think it was just artificially mixed to have that, but it wasn't made in that way.
Well, you say that. Dark Side of the Moon was actually released at the Planetarium in Quadraphonic.
Yeah, well, I remember Quadraphonic, the Planetarium, yeah.
So it was that was a surround sound format back in the day.
Yeah, the Planetarium.
Yowza.
Yeah.
Cheers, Nick.
Okay, thanks a lot, Drew. 0345 6060 973. Ealing. Hello, John.
Hello.
John.
I'll keep it short because I know we're getting to the end of the show here, but I think, first of all, your namesake from New Zealand, he sounds a lot like Clive James.
Well,
I don't know why I keep thinking that, because it's the way his intonation.
Right.
I miss Clive James, actually, because I used to love his programs.
Yeah, but anyway. So. In fact, there was one of his on TV the other night. They may be about to, or in the process of, repeating his postcards from, some of which... They
were great.
Really good.
They were absolutely great.
Really good.
But what I would say, the reason I'm ringing is the business with the Labour Party. My message to them is, if any of them are listening, is stop creating a circular firing squad. For crying out loud.
Yeah.
The whole country is on its knees, and you're spending your time fighting while the Conservatives are just actually regrouping, and they're just going to walk the next election because you're just spending your time tearing yourself to pieces.
Correct.
It's so frustrating because all of us have got a problem with our bills, all sorts of stuff. 2 or 3 years, 15 years of this malarkey. And yet, again, as per usual, you've got Angela Rayner's husband or boyfriend, whatever the hell he is, trying to call out Keir Starmer.
Well, you've got the usual suspects who are making the usual stupid mistakes, and the left will do its usual thing. They'll wrestle each other to the ground, and the Tories will step neatly over them and acquire power for the next 5 years. Again.
I know, it's like they enjoy being in opposition. Well, I don't understand what it is.
I keep saying that. There's a masochistic streak that goes through them, that they actually enjoy losing, because it just gives them a chance to grumble without consequence.
But, Nick, meanwhile, we're all suffering.
Yeah.
All of us are having problems with gas bills, electricity bills. We've got loved ones, whether we're affluent or not. We've got family members that aren't so. So we're trying to look after everybody. It's gone up, yes, you said yesterday, 400%, and it's only 4% in another country.
Yeah, France.
So it's only we would be stupid enough under Thatcherism to sell our water and our gas.
Can you believe it? What kind of a country sells its water?
It's beggars belief. It's unbelievable.
Does, yeah.
And even the housing situation. They're going on about the housing. We need, all of the seeds goes right back to Margaret Thatcher.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Margaret Thatcher. You see what you've done, milk snatcher.
But that's the whole point. And you've got Liz Truss acting as if somehow that's supposed to make me feel like, oh, God, I'll vote for her with her vacant robotic brain.
Well, that's not very fair.
That is a disgrace.
It's a disgrace that you would say that, John. And don't forget,
we have never had it so good.
Keep that in mind at all times. Never had it so good. Thanks very much, her mistrust. The Blunder Truss. Good one. I'm going to be back tonight with my abnormal normal show. I think you will find that Richard Spur will be here at 4 o'clock. But first, here is Clive Ball.
Nick, thank you. A poll just published says the majority of people in Britain think the next Prime Minister, whoever it might be, should go to the country and seek a mandate to govern. Do you think there should be a snap general election? Well, by snap, I mean September the 5th. That's what they were asked. Do you agree with that? Also, Rishi and Liz have been coming up with all sorts of ideas, just throwing out more and more policies. So we're going to look at some of those. Has Rishi got a plan to save the high street? Does Liz have a plan to solve the housing crisis? And Rishi wants to fine you for missing an NHS appointment. We'll look at a bit more detail at all of that, plus the front pages of the Sunday papers coming up after the news at 1 on LBC.
On your radio, on Global Player, and
Play LBC.
Leading Britain's conversation. This is Elks. 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 Is Elks.